right, here we go then, Tim. That's about the call-outs, and of course there'll be many, many nuances across different regions on what's called what, but we're down with it. We've got some ideas on what we're going for this one, and we'll see how it plays out. I think what you've heard everybody speaking about is pretty spot on, though. The main sites you're going to see are the two top floor ones, then down towards Cafe, but the one out towards Hammam you're probably not going to see because there's so many teams have said the problem is you smoke off, you get a few angles held down, and you can plant inside bathroom, get back out, and they can do nothing about it. So, very keen to see how things develop from there.
Yeah, I referenced Villa earlier, and I think, you know, there's a further point to be made there in kind of what my expectation is a little bit here. I think for those top floor sites, we're going to see extended holds. We're going to see roamers out there across the top floor, kind of trying to hold a good portion of that. And I think what that's going to lead to is a similar sort of pattern to Villa, where you kind of get this push coming from the opposite side of the map to the site and trying to sweep across, clear out the roam, clear out the extension, and then work onto site itself. And then you'll kind of reverse that when we go to the other side of the map. We'll see how that plays out, but for now, let's get into it. Round one of Fortress. SSG versus Secret. Des, I bounced out of bed thinking about this game. I knew that it was coming up at the end of Group D today, and I've been looking forward to this one. Both teams with a good 2-0 win yesterday. Very, very convincing, and I cannot wait to see them face off against each other.
The exciting story for both teams, I think, throughout all of SI is going to be that these are the two almost teams that you can see them winning a big event like SI, but they just fall short when it matters. And for SSG, that's never been more true about them than over the last 5 years. Every year, they have either equaled or improved their SI standing. Numbers that I had down was like 5 years ago, back in 2021. They found themselves finishing pretty low in 13th to 16th. The next 2 years, 9th to 12th. 2024, 7th to 8th. Last year, 5th to 6th. Surely this is the year we find them finishing inside that top 4. See what happens as we get throughout the tournament. And Secret, I really want to see them press on off the back of BWC and show that this is a team worth being threatened by. However, let's start things out here inside of Mam. As you just saw a player roaming around, looking for a little bit of contest onto one of the others pushing forward. It is Benja running around on the Dockerby. I think very, very good for this map. Sees his man at the top of the stairs. Can't quite find him, but at least scares Shuma away back up towards Old Tower.
Yeah, it's already quite interesting here from SSG in terms of how they're approaching Fortress here. Two of them have gone in onto that ground floor. It was something Pengu picked up on the desk. Generally, if you play in a top floor site, you don't tend to see too much of bottom floor used during that because it's a little bit difficult to play uphill in Siege, as it were. And so quite often you'll see a reduced roam just for that floor. But SSG are taking advantage of that fact by working in underneath, by getting in underneath there with the buck to utilise that space that they're being offered. We can see on the side of Secret, there's nobody down there to challenge them. So they've got that little bit of freedom, and SSG taking immediate advantage of it.
It's very, very common that you'll see attackers generally start on the southwest side of this top floor too, look to get some control around bending and then push their way through in towards bumps and in towards games. Otherwise, you're looking in towards things like Horse, which is where Noah has been sat. But so far for SSG, where they found their 2 opening kills, has been on members of Secret looking to go aggressive out on towards the external parts of the map. So not really much going on inside the building yet, but enough that Secret are trying to stay active and trying to be aggressive, and SSG are punishing them for it.
Ashen's going to be making his way up red stairs by the looks of things, and what a beautiful challenge onto Noah. Takes him out of Horse. Doom looks for the fight back, takes one onto Fultz, but 2 versus 4 are going to be extremely difficult here. Adrian misses his opportunity, taken down by Benja on the reverse angle. That leaves us now in a 1 versus 3 for Doom.
Yeah, so Diffuser's down inside a briefing here as well, so there's going to have to be a recovery effort by SSG. Doom choosing not to stay on top of it, has moved his way up towards bedroom, just playing in this courtyard corridor, but being chased down behind him, keeps himself alive for now. Expecting something in the rotate, and sure enough, a player is going to push around here. You don't know where to find him, though. Right sort of idea. Gets the down on 1, looking for the second, but can't quite find him. Has to be careful up towards his right. Is J90 who gets the finish. SSG taking round 1.
Yeah, good start for SSG there. I like that from them on the attack. Like I said, there was no extension to that site hold down to the bottom floor. It's not unusual if we look to other sites like Top Floor Cafe, Top Floor Nighthaven Labs. Generally, those top floor sites, Top Floor Bank as well. You know, very rarely will you play too heavily underneath, and SSG have just taken full advantage of that, so love that from the North American side. We saw Ashen as well moving up the red stairs, getting a beautiful kill in towards Horse. We see it now on the reverse angle, absolute beauty. And yeah, SSG very dominant that round. Secret got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, they were trying to play aggressive on towards the southwest side of that top floor, like I mentioned, because attacking teams want to get inside bending, push through from there, like I mentioned, in towards dorms and in towards games, because that then gives you the exposure in towards briefing, and right next to that is the site itself. So it's a great position to get into. And this is why you saw quite a bit of attention from both teams on that part of the map. There was a lot of scrapping itself, those you referenced around Horse, lots again, shooting outside, trying to contest players that were coming in immediately. But for SSG, it was that work from below, making use of the Dockerby, up white stairs, that really got them going in that round.
Going to be seeing games as our site this time around, I think. And it looks like there's a little bit more of a presence downstairs. We've got Mowgli playing underneath, so at least one more than there was previously. And as I say that, thank you, Mowgli, he runs back upstairs. So, Secret have given over that bottom floor again. SSG have brought Ashen along again. So I would expect it. He's already in first floor showers. He's already going into there on that ground level. Again, is this going to become a problem for Secret where they're kind of giving them too much space? Doom has moved down now. He's in music, so he is down there to challenge and make sure that Ashen can't have it all his own way down there with the skeleton key.
From there where they try and build out from there, right? This one's a little bit easy because you can go straight into bending and push through there, so this main wall being opened up is no doubt going to be number one. But as you touched on earlier on, we were speaking about it back in the green room, it will be that topside push down that we'll look for here. So very much a flip of what you saw in the previous round is going to be the main focus.
Yeah, we can see that Secret have got that extension out towards it, basically kind of covering both sides every time almost.
Yeah.
When you're playing up on this top floor just with kind of a lighter presence in the other one. Much, as I said, like Villa, you know, if you're in the one site, you tend to have a presence in the other top floor site. So Secret have lost one Doom underneath, which again gives SSG that full vertical control. Ashen currently inside of Kitchen. He's going to be looking to open up with that skeleton key. And what is that going to do? Why is he doing that with the book? Well, he's trying to move defenders out of those power positions. If he opens up the floor underneath them, it's not so much about finding kills. If he gets one, great. But what it is about is removing those spots that they can sit in, removing those extended roams, forcing them back to site, so that when the push comes across top floor from his team, they've got the space to move into. Maybe they catch a kill as Secret have to rotate and try and move back to site. But if nothing else, they can then claim that ground and they can start clearing utility and going on to sort of step two, which is preparing access to your plant site.
It looks like Secret are trying to kind of power. I spoke about this earlier on, the call for a team to move as one and go for it, show power basically. They've gone really hard towards Courtyard, and I think realizing that Fultz is pushing in from that northwest side of the map down across the top floor. He has the diffuser. If he dies here, they can plant the bombs on that and just sit on it for a good while. But they're struggling here, SSG, to really get too far into the map itself. Jane, I know, has just stepped in towards vending on the bottom side, so they're trying to pinch in now onto these Secret players. They've got the man advantage. This is looking good.
Just had a little bit of a standoff there on the red stairs. It continues. Noah swings around. He's the one who gets it. The barbed wire, I think, gave Ashen away, but Benja picks up Mowgli elsewhere. 4 versus 2 now, and SSG starting to put a little bit more pressure on towards site. As it is, Noah, Savage, neither of them are really in there. Noah just steps inside of the door to site, but he's going to get pressured heavily now.
I was going to say there, they had 3 players all ready to hit site once they got control of that Courtyard highway, which is where Benja was. And off the back of it, all it took was a couple more kills to come their way, playing off the trades. A very comfortable close. You know, one thing I'll jump on here and just talk about player-wise, Mowgli has been deleted out on the extension both times across these 2 rounds. It's like he barely existed.
Doom as well last round.
Very easy for SSG to get that initial entry and start to establish some map control. But so far, it's been very slow and composed by them. I don't blame them for that. They've looked really good doing it. It's just the Secret aren't really able to then fight anything against them, because if they try and roam and be aggressive, they're meeting a slow team that's ready for them. If SSG then choose to spin things on and say, right, now we execute and we go fast, that tempo can be really hard to match.
Sat here, we'll be waiting and Cafe, which is one of our downstairs sites. So this time we're going to see a little bit of a flip reverse. I'm interested to see how much do Secret invest in the top floor. We've seen previously just the 1 man underneath. Doom was taken out down there. So are they going to go a little bit heavier now that we're going back to more sort of a traditional defensive layout, which is on that ground floor and then you can hold above. We'll see whether they do that or not, or whether all the utility is invested downstairs. But look, so far so good for SSG. They're coming in looking like maybe the more prepared. We don't know that until the second half, of course. Once we get onto that second half and we see Secret attack, you know, maybe we just see Fortress, as we expect in the long term, to be attacker favoured. But, you know, we are really in the kind of early phases of this and working it all out. Secret, they need to start getting themselves some rounds one way or another.
It's an interesting one when no one's really playing upstairs now. I mean, okay, Savage just moved up there, as I say. Classic cast the curse. We did expect, and as Nick was saying, like, you're probably going to see this be the favourite site or the most defender sided for a number of teams because you get to play the entirety of the map. You get to play the vertical hold upstairs. You get to spread out across that ground floor. My only worry is then you spread a bit too far out as a whole team, and it's too easy to pick you off one at a time.
Well, the thing is, Secret aren't using the top floor. If we look at the bottom left of your screen, you can see the locations of all the players. There's only one that's on second floor, and I can tell you now, Savage is barely on second floor. He's on the white stairs, which is
he's challenging. He's not trying down to lobby.
It would be up towards the top left of your screen if you look at it as a top down, but we can see him here. He's just up and down these white stairs, and he's not really challenging across yet. He's looking for that flank later on, but if SSG are attacking top floor, you're going to expect them to have that locked down. They should have a drone there, they should have knowledge, and they should be aware if he tries to push across. So Savage back downstairs. Secret are giving up top floor.
Gets away with the kill and manages to keep his life, not getting traded out by the other side. Good success for Savage. Currently sat in the middle of all of these grim bees, knows that he's being trapped the entire time, and out comes the Dockerby call off the back of it. SSG smelling blood, but not wanting to go too aggressive for it.
No, absolutely not. We can see Benja just holding that line. We've got the ping onto the Fenrir. Savage has taken some damage, but at the minute, all he's doing is wasting time. Seconds are ticking by while they're unable to get the kill here. He's just
and the diffuser. It's in front of him.
He can just sit pretty here for the time being and just hold them at bay. This is really well played. Smart play from Savage.
Thing is, they're trying to make moves like a stalemate in chess where he hasn't got to move his feet here really, and they haven't got any nades to force him to move into a sightline. Both Dockerby calls you, trying to deal with him. Really, in a way, he's kind of single-handedly won this round for his team, regardless of what happens next, unless we see a bit of a clutch coming out. Benja around the corner, pre-firing, but Savage a little bit better in the moment. J9 with it all to do. And sure enough, Secret will hold on in the third round.
Yeah, they needed that one, I think. Gets themselves on the board, just settles things down, and they can take the opportunity now to maybe grab a couple more defenses whilst they're dictating the play on defense, you know, how they're setting up, how things are going to shape up. We're going to have a ban coming in as well. Honestly, with the way things went in the last round in those two losses, I'd like to see a book ban here, which I know is a little bit unusual, but given they suffered to Ashen underneath a little bit, they may be, you know, valuing a hard breacher as well. Dockerby always valuable, but they need to do something to deal with that play from SSG. They've suffered to it twice now. They know that Benja and Ashen are going to go in underneath. That's what's going to happen. They're going to work in underneath, and they're going to try to use some verticality there to cause problems for them. You know, maybe they'll switch it up. I don't know. Ashen's going to move on to the knock, at least for now. We might see that switch out, but yeah, I'd like to see Secret do something about that. Don't give them that run of the bottom floor.
Dockerby's doing kind of more of the, like, as we keep saying, it feels like the map will go to be attacker-sided over time. Dockerby really band-aids over a lot of those weaknesses that the attackers have early on. When you don't know how teams are going to play the map, the kind of spots they're going to sit in, where they'll be ratting, for example, the Dockerby really helps you move through the map a little bit more fluidly. We spoke about this in our series earlier on today, and how we hoped and saw at some point that a ban would come in against it, but it never quite happened by Daystar. At least here it's been acknowledged early on as something that is giving SSG the ability to move through the map. So taking it offline, things should get that a little bit easier. However, look at the changes coming in for the SSG team in the bottom right corner. We're seeing that blitz being brought along. Time to brush their pants off with a shield, Tim.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? They've got the Finker on side as well to juice Fultz up, maybe give him a little bit of extra burst of speed if they want to go even faster. SSG all shaping up to push from the north side together for the time being. And just going to be using that Thatcher EMP cannon, can we call it?
We saw someone using it yesterday just to disable default cams on Clubhouse, and I was a little bit like, that's probably not the intended use case, mate.
Yeah, probably not getting the most value
But
out
for
of
the
that.
actual gadgets around the map, they're the main ones you've got to worry about.
Yeah.
Here we go. The rush, like I said, might coming through with the blitz up front. 4 players all stacked up on one doorway here. They're going in, hailing smoke, and Adrian is up nice and close. That range, half range, I should say, more than mid-level, brings down 2. A flanking from Moby, a C4 over the top as well. They've found 4 players and completely decimated this rush.
Yeah, the attempted push in through courtyard is just, well, it's crumbled, is the only way to put it there. Just dropping in, just trying to get aggressive straight in. Final kill comes from Horse, as we see there. But yeah, ultimately, Secret very, very ready for that. And look, I think Secret are very happy with what we've seen so far now. Yep, first 2 rounds were a little bit difficult. SSG, I think, played them a lot better than they just played that attack there. You know, sometimes, yep, you take the risk with a rush like that. You kind of roll the dice. Do you catch them out? This time they didn't. Secret were ready for it. And I think leveling things up 2-2, they now need to grab themselves at least 1 more of these defenses. 2 would be perfect. Give themselves that advantage going into the attack. Good stuff from both sides. It's been a good game so far.
It is one thing I want to stress at this point as well, is that you will see a lot of attacks like that you just go, well, what the hell were they trying to do there? That looks awful. And it's the difference between the plan. A plan always looks good. Execution is where things can fall very, very wrong. You don't expect a player to be here, or maybe they hit 2 brilliant headshots, as was the case from Adrian, to shut down that attack in the first place. Just because it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean it wasn't a good idea. And I think especially on Fortress, where teams are going to be trying new things all the time, new ideas they've been cooking up and workshopping. No doubt loads more will spawn off the back of teams looking back over this game's VOD. You are going to see things that look messy. That's okay. That's part of the development of a map, I think. And admittedly, SSG already having found 2 attacks, I think they're in a good spot here to find a third and give themselves at least a 3-3 half.
Game and Dorms will be our site for round 5, so it's going to be the other top floor site that we saw from Secret defending in the last round. And we can see a lot of Secret, again, very, very spread across that top floor. It does offer opportunity, of course, for SSG to try and play in and isolate them a little bit, but you have a look. Very fluid, very, very mobile, but Doom, Savage kind of working together. Noah looking to hold down the top red stairs, and Mowgli, Adrian on site together, so they are kind of paired up and looking to be able to impact on each other as well. For the time being, SSG just looking to shape up coming in towards this south side this time, kind of towards that old tower position, and try and get themselves into that corner.
Adrian was on the smoke here last time, but that now has gone over to Savage, who's playing at the other end of the map entirely. So he's really looking to waste time when they're trying to lurk in a little bit later on. Probably Benja that will look to do that on the Twitch right now. He's got himself sat very merrily up towards the northwest side of the map. Will start his move later. So maybe a little bit of plant denial intent coming out here, or Adrian's making use of those drones to play a little bit of robot wars, get around and feed his team a bit of information. Deimos track coming into a player on site though, not really going to be all that useful.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Not really in a position there in gun to do anything about it. Ashen does just give them that little bit of intel, I guess. But for the time being, again, SSG have taken what's been offered to them. They've gone in and got themselves the ground floor. They're working across there, but without having brought the book along this time, I literally commented previously saying, oh, the book might not be a terrible ban because Ashen's been doing some work with it. But this time, they've chosen not to bring it along. I think the plan all along there has been don't draw the Deimos ban and then use the Deimos in the second half, but not having too much joy with it from below so far.
So it's very, very slowly about. I don't think that's a bad thing. Again, SSG have played this slower style throughout this half, and it's worked pretty effectively, bar the rush in the previous round that we all saw go a certain way. Fultz, unfortunately, careering into one of the explosives coming out from Doom, and then dies to his hand with the gun anyway. Track coming on through as Doom hits the second here just to make life even harder. Doesn't matter about the track in his mind when he can just bring down Ashen as he steps on forward. Good success so far for Secret, and SSG reeling a little bit.
Oh, I was just going to say they've done a better job of sort of disrupting that bottom floor hold this time as Doom got taken out underneath by J9O. Leaves them 4 versus 3 though. Still not a bad position as Savage manages to find another onto Benja. 30 seconds left to go. Newer's on low health as well. This is not looking good for SSG. Secret, they could be claiming their 3rd round in a row. They know they're on the stairs. Adrian hits him with the headshot. Mowgli with the shotgun, and that is going to close things out. Secret 3-2.
Very comfortable because they knew where their bottlenecks existed there on blue stairs and on the briefing door that faced off towards that courtyard hallway. From there, it was death trap, right? They didn't have anything to open up the walls going through bathroom in towards briefing. With that, it would have forced the defenders back into site itself and maybe would have given the attackers a bit more room. But I think once they realized that the only hard breach in Fultz was down on the other side, they could afford to hold angles really aggressively. That's exactly what you see Savage doing here, up on this single doorway bottleneck, and from there collecting enough kills to keep the team in it and make it a comfortable closeout for them. 3-2 Secret.
Good passages of play from both sides so far. And definitely putting up a performance as we thought coming into this one. It is definitely going to be a case of who can come away and win it, who can take it away from the other team. Now, obviously, SSG coming in with the Fortress pick is leaving Secret in a position. If they get the win here, they move on to their own map choice. And
Lair.
Yeah, that's not necessarily.
Did you say Lair?
Lair.
Doesn't not saying layer.
Lair.
Like layers of a cake, not lair.
Lair.
I'll try. I can see how hard your mouth's working to try and make that sound.
I'll try my best. A little bit of utility just being put out in the courtyard there again.
Second time they've done that, by the way.
Yeah, conscious, you know, they did face the rush earlier. SSG aren't going to go for that again. But, you know, they did suffer the attempt from there, so it's a case of making sure they don't. Adrian, he's having a real game so far today. 7 and 2. I've seen him hit some beautiful headshots and just add that one to the bill. Fantastic stuff from him.
It's also the second time I've seen a Denari set up actually around Old Tower Stairs here. Mowgli's got this little triangle that he sets up here just to make it a bit harder to push into him, I think, if nothing else. And especially when he falls back, it's the extra information that you get off it, because this Old Tower entrance is one of the main ways into the map. It's a really good way of at least being given information when someone's pushing in. They either run into it or they shoot it out and destroy it in some way. Either way, you know what's coming and you've got a shield watching it. Really cool little setup.
Yeah, there's 3 above for Secret this time, whereas last time SSG attacked onto this ground floor site, they didn't actually really try to take above. You know, it was mostly a lateral push. They didn't expend too much time or effort, didn't really lose any bodies up there on the top floor, and it all came down to trying to push Savage, who'd managed to get the diffuser at his feet. So we're seeing maybe something, or we're going to need to see something different from SSG this time. I think, you know, it is going to be essential for them to get up. Mowgli on the Denari, of course, has, you know, the shotgun secondary. He is able to open up those holes if they want them. 4 lines of sight into sight itself. Assuming he's brought it along, that is.
A big assumption on that one, absolutely. Now everyone's still standing except for the Benja trade or exchange that we saw earlier with Adrian, which he says having a wonderful game so far. Benja did start out really well across those first couple of rounds and has been relatively silent since, definitely kept suppressed by the other side. The Secret have done well to recover the momentum throughout this half, as you might well expect for a new map. The defenders to be doing pretty well. Sees him up through the hatch, but unfortunately can't quite get the shot. Steps across for it now, but no! Savage finding J90 first, even with the smoke coming on through from the Kappa Tower. It's nowhere near enough. Secret going to get that 4-2 half they were after. Actually, hang on a minute. Ashen getting 2 out of seemingly nowhere, even with a few shots coming back his way, but he eats 2 of those goo mines, Tim. This round is definitely done. He's got a single bullet of HP to his name, and Savage is going to find it to give Secret that 4-2 half.
All smiles on the side of Secret now. We can see the energy rising, and it is no surprise. 4 rounds in a row. Perfect momentum to carry forward into the second half. Good stuff from Secret, but now the challenge comes. If you remember at the beginning of this game, I said often with new maps, not always the case, but often with new maps, we will see that defenders have a little bit of an advantage until the attackers get up to speed and figure everything out, and that can usually take a couple of months sometimes in competitive Siege. So let's see how Secret can do now that they are on the attack.
I was looking at the numbers for this, and over the last 6 months, Secret are the best attacking team in the world, bar none. Highest attacking win percentage. They actually have a lower defensive win percentage than attack, which is arguably where their game struggles on the defense. We spoke about it a bit during that Juma Mowgli being chewed off in those first couple of rounds. They have recovered, they've done well now, but that's where their kind of area to work on or area to improve is. For SSG, I'm really curious to know what they're bringing along to the table on their defensive side to put challenge to Secret here and not just let them roll on through with that attacking prowess that they're very, very well renowned for at this point.
Ashen, the double there at the end. I think a little bit of luck thrown in on that one. It just goes to show you're not short of bullets in Siege, so always keep firing. You never know who's going to strafe across in front of you and offer up an opportunity, but it was the last thing he was able to do in that round before Savage pounced and closed it out. So, 4-2, SSG move on to their first defense. And they too are going to be taking us up to the top floor. We will see whether they look to do any work underneath. Mowgli is coming in with the Deimos, so we would expect to see him maybe work into that ground floor, try much the same as SSG did to create a little bit of verticality with that Vendetta, use the tracks, see if he can dislodge anybody that is playing up above. Will SSG lean into that and play somebody downstairs to challenge him or not?
The bans that are so interesting as well, a smoke taken out off the rip, but the clash being available, that was what was banned away by SSG during the other half. It being available to them now means they get to play it. So what effect, we're going to find out, because there's no way you pick a map if you haven't got some what you consider to be rock-solid defensive strategies to bring along. That's why, again, I think this game is so interesting, knowing, as I've already said, Secret's prowess on the attack. It's certainly going to make some interesting moments. The Dokkaebi and the Ying, and of course the Shield, no doubt, going to be a big part of the game plan here. About getting themselves in position, and probably even more importantly, is dealing with this clash. When we were casting yesterday, we were speaking about Clash herself not really being the most threatening. It's more the fact that the information she can feed to her teammates and slow you down, that is what makes her very, very deadly. So it's more a case of being cautious of the members around the Clash rather than the Clash herself.
Not too much of a kind of extended extension on this hold from SSG. There's only Ashen that's playing down towards Game and Bunks, so there could possibly be a little bit of room for Secret to get inside of the map and take a bit of space over there. But as it is at the minute, they're choosing a fairly direct route, looking to just kind of come in through that museum and White Stairs area, straight in, directly towards site and put pressure on there. We heard Candelas going off. Fultz ultimately is going to be able to punish. Savage takes down the Blackbeard. Could be a big loss for Secret.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the clash wasn't very deadly. Normally it's the team members around. It turns out Fultz very happy to just say, nah, guns up and away we go. Gets rid of the Blackbeard on the other side. Massive start to the round for SSG to take away probably the most critical operator in the pressure that Secret were looking to apply in towards that northwest part of the map. Now it simply doesn't exist. And as it stands, I can see a couple of players looking a little bit unsure on where to go next on Secret. It feels like they're starting to lose the wind in their sails.
Yeah, largely as expected. I think the attacking side is definitely proving more difficult. J90 manages to get himself a kill, 5v2, and Noah and Mowgli are up against it now. Not only up against it, but they've got low HP as well. See Mowgli just sort of scrabbling around, trying to take a fight. He's
about to get pushed in.
He's wedged. It's a real problem coming up for Mowgli now.
Like there's no way you can go because you can't get back up either, so it's a bit like once you're in here, you are very well and truly stuck. He'll have a go, Fultz, but loses his life for it. Could have been a flawless round for his team, but it's simply not going to build into that. Drops down through. Of course, the new way down the ladder. But Benja collects the closing kill. SSG taking the round. Quite convincingly, I might stress.
Yeah,
well.
really good from SSG. Like I said, after that first half, it's been great play from everybody. You know, I think there are some kind of new map things going on here. Like their Secret kind of just got... It was very one-dimensional was the push. There was no attempt towards the other side of the map. There was no presence, you know, kind of out towards getting possession of games, getting possession of dorms. They weren't able to move in there and take that ground. There was only Ashen holding it. There were opportunities there, you know, nothing pushing through courtyard. It was pretty one-dimensional and they lost bodies quickly. And I think that's, again, kind of a symptom of a new map sometimes while attackers are figuring it out. I'd like to see Secret just splitting up a little bit, you know, maybe a couple of teams, you know, 2 on one side, 3 on the other. Just try and push and create a little bit of pressure from multiple angles this time.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Of course, we never really like talking about Hoffa's team, though. You did do it earlier on, and it still relatively stayed the same. I was going to talk about the Amaro coming in from Savage, but he's changed way to the Nomad, playing nice and sensibly, and instead what we've got here is a combo that I've spoken about to the absolute death during League play, Tim. It's going to be the Dockerby and, of course, the Deimos coming along as a unit. Both kind of covering each other's weaknesses in a way, but just gives you really good capability to push through the map, and of course the Nomad can then lock down those areas that you've cleared. I think that's more of an acknowledgement from Secret that there are large parts of the map they're going to have to take here. It's going to be a full clear to get to the sites itself, but they've then got to make sure someone can't come pushing up behind them. And once again, they've got to face off against the Clash. You already know the third band coming out of Secret is going to be Clash.
You would expect so, yeah. You would expect so after seeing it brought again. I think, what do I want to see from Secret? Different to last time. I want to see some map control. I want to see them get in there, take a few of these rooms over, and start making some progress towards site. They didn't really get too close last time around, so that's the big difference that I'm looking for. I think an entry kill would really help them to do that, because obviously that creates that space for you. You move in, you take the ground that was occupied and is no longer, and then push forward from there.
Probably one thing both teams have done a lot throughout the game. I know you guys can't strictly see it because you haven't got the benefit of the top-down like we have, but there has been so much focus on the windows and external-facing doorways or rotates or anything out on towards this southwest balcony that I mentioned earlier on. Like at the back end of last round, you had Ashen spraying as the bandit through towards the secondary door that goes in towards Horse. They just really wanted to make it uncomfortable to play outside the map. That's largely for Secret now, up towards the north side, pushing in through the tower, pushing up White Stairs, for example. They have got a bit of control here, but again, it is going to be a full map clear they need to work through.
And they are starting to try and do that. We can see now that Noah has got himself up to the top of White Stairs. He's got, there we go, brilliant kill. He's got himself up to the top of White Stairs. He's got Savage in support. And what he's been able to do is open up that wall that goes through and just gives that space to find the kill onto J90. Savage can now move in from that location. And they start in this sweep across the top floor that we expected to see Secret. And gaining map control quickly here. Savage has got himself an awful long way forward into bathroom.
the flank watch here, and more importantly, I guess the air jabs being down is really going to be tested because Benja is below. I imagine he's more looking to try and find himself a C4 kill. But of course, with either staircase available to him, can also look to work his way up above. Has one player looking to challenge him on the downstairs. Believe it's Savage. So has to be really, really careful. So I think he might even know there's a bit of pressure coming in. Knocks that death mark off. Of course, with the Tubarão gadget coming out, does disable that so he can get away quite safely. And here should be able to rejoin his team.
Yeah, that's it. He knows that it's time to Scarpa, but look, he's done a good job. There's 30 seconds left to go, and there's still work for Secret to be done here. They are in control of large amounts of this top floor, though I said that I wanted to see some map control for them. A flash ain't going to help you there, but a couple of kills will. Noah, Adrian, one apiece. Ashen with a double for himself. 2 versus 1. 15 seconds left to go. Doom, he's putting the kit down. Mowgli is on the cover. Can he find the kill? No. Benja, he manages to get himself back after that long time spent Rome for an essential double on the Tubarão. He will go in and disable the diffuser. A great 1v2 clutch from Benja.
Made a real nuisance of himself all round as well. Forced Savage to have to match him downstairs. Had the C4 at the ready. Managed to deal with the Dockerby call as well as the Deimos track coming in. And manages to be the player that is huge for them at the close of the round. Now things are all even, Tim. That's 2 defenses in a row. Won by SSG. It's 4-4. This is where Secret start to feel a bit worried, I expect.
Yeah, Secret had a real opportunity there when Noah gets the kill. He gets the kill onto J9, sorry, moves across, cuts into bathroom with Savage, and they take over kind of 2/3 of the top floor, put the pressure on and manage to get the diffuser down. But then lose the it's the DMR, losing the fights to the DMR of the Tubarão. Good round from Benja, wasted a long time downstairs, wasted a lot of that Deimos utility, and then was able to get back up and have that kind of impact. Great stuff from him. 4-4, and these two are going toe-to-toe just like we wanted.
I do think you're going to see it keep swinging SSG's way, though. Like I said, they've looked pretty convincing overall on the defense, I'd say. Secret have got a bit of work to do to really sharpen up these attacks. What I will say so far as well is we've seen a number of rounds, probably at least 3 or 4 now, where we've had 2 or 3 players having to stack on a single doorway to try and brute force their way through. And it reminds me to a level of some other maps that we've seen in the pool previously. You know, Concert reminds me of one where it does feel quite bottlenecky because there are a lot of single doorways that you have to work through. And the consequence of that is it just becomes an absolute scrap over the smallest part of the map that might look inconsequential, but whoever wins that fight on the single doorway opens up so much more for that side to be able to get in and start doing work off the back of it. So we'll keep on, I imagine, seeing those trades coming out. A lot of shotgun play being shown so far. Not surprising to anyone given what I've just said about our bottlenecks.
Windows being opened up immediately. As you said, they will continue to be used. It's too easy. It's too easy. Ashen manages to pick up Doom, who just strays across into his line of sight. DMR again, being put to great use on this map. It's going to be 5 versus 4 now. SSG picking themselves up a solid opener.
Again, the curse of a new map is not always knowing the exact angles that someone is going to hold, what kind of cheeky things are looking to get away with, and Ashen really has grabbed a freebie there off Doom, and most importantly, it's the Dockerby gone, Tim. The operator they were relying on to help them move through the map, as I've said a few times, is no longer available. Not a single call was used.
Benja's the one to watch again here. So Secret have got themselves up into the top floor and they're starting to work with that verticality. You've got Savage, you've got Mowgli up there working inside of games, around dorms, trying to open hatches, trying to open vertical angles. Benja has been playing around the white stairs up on the far side. I thought he might go for the flank, but he's actually called it a day. So he's going to move back through the bottom floor to site. So right now, SSG need to hold on against these vertical angles. Ashen's doing the work with the Tubarão. The auto canisters are keeping the hatch closed, but Secret are in full control of that top floor.
Really need this hatch to be opened up, and that's all of our Zotos now gone. No extra electro claws that Fultz can just throw in here to make a difference. It will get opened up, but we're down to about 70 seconds or so. Lots of time to work with, but naturally you have to ask the question, where else are Secret looking to come from? They're also focused on this upstairs piece at the minute that Savage is the one I'm looking at on the blitz and saying, well, aggression from you is crucial here, but he's going to be the one to drop. He's got the diffuser in back pocket. This is looking pretty risky, Tim.
Certainly is, just looking at the vertical angle
Ashen,
up the hatch here. Ashen, just, you don't expect it. You don't expect it until you get hurt by it. Capite will send the fire in, the smoke goes as well. Ashen has got Nitro at the ready. We can see those silhouettes, he can't. The drop comes in if he hears it. think you do get a little bit of audio of the shield there. Nitro goes out successfully. Ashen managing to take down Savage, but the fight back comes from Secret. Not enough though. Triple kill for Ashen before he's taken down. 1 versus 3, and it is all up to Adrian. 20 seconds left to go.
No.
He's flashed himself. He's moving with speed to try and get something going, but very unlikely, I think, that SSG give this away now.
No, there's a player right down in front of him as well that he had no idea about. It's an easy close out for SSG, and again, you can see it in the gameplay. They just know what they're expecting other teams to do against them. They're prepped. They prepped the hell out of it, Tim. They know what to expect. They've got an answer for everything. Looking really good so far.
Yeah, they are. I've been, like I said, I've been impressed with both sides in different passages of play. I think Secret did a good job in that last round of moving in quickly. They were offered the ground upstairs. They took it. They used the Rotero drones to get the verticals from Dorms and Games down into sight. Really good stuff from them. But ultimately, they just didn't have sort of enough pressure and control elsewhere, I think, to then... What you kind of need to do if you're going to take the verticals is get people moving.
Take this time to reset a little bit. Guys, I want you guys to pay attention a little bit more to this earlier round, because right now as the game is cooked, they are trying to go a little bit more cheesy into the spawn picks or whatever. Let's watch out onto that, but for the takes of the map as well, if we are going for it, the idea of killing the clashes, right now it won't happen, but for the takes of the map it would be good, because it's step by step, is then falling back to the site. Let's just pay attention to this Bandit, Kate and Tubarão combo, that they will be relying on that, because if we are able to open and have strong operators for the execution, we'll be good already, you know? Let's cook them inside of the game and they will be fucked anyways, because they don't know how to play the map, they're just playing by the rule set.
Yeah.
And we know better than them.
And they want to play it fall off like on the other side of the map as well, guys. So like we can take it for free with the Docker and stuff.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's good.
Let's fucking go.
Risky claim from Twister saying, oh, they don't have to play the map. They picked it, my man.
I think that, no,
There'll be a lot of that. A lot of teams say, I think I've got to play this, and that team will be winning on a map, and it's like, can you really back that up? They look very ready, like I say, for anything that has been thrown at them, though, to Twister's point, as I said at the start, these little cheeky spawn peaks and early round moments of aggression, that does reward the team that has better map knowledge, and right now, that looks like SSG.
Getting into round 10, then we're back up to the top floor, going to be the bathroom site. Last time around when Secret were attacking this, we saw them all coming from kind of white stairs, that top left corner as you're looking at your screen there. This time, I think I get that reverse sweep across. Like I say, last time SSG didn't really hold this too hard. They've got Ashen down there. That was it last time as well. Ashen was on the Bandit. He's on the Ella this time. You know, put a few numbers in from Old Tower side, I think. Move across, get Dorms, get into, you know, a little bit of pressure onto Bathroom from that side as well. And then play your other players from that top left side from White Stairs and make a bit of a challenge on both sides. We'll see whether that's what Secret go for or not.
What I will say, there's been a lot less focus on the south side of the top floor than I thought we'd see.
Yeah, there
I
has.
thought we'd see a lot more in towards vending, opening up the wall that goes in towards dorms, but that's not really been a thing. If nothing else, the defenders have opened up that wall to be able to step out of it and be able to aggress on towards this balcony area. So a bit of a surprise there. In fact, all the action, I'd say, or at least the vast majority of it, 60% of it, has been around White Stairs and around New Tower. That's where you've got to put the focus on initially. And of course, with this site being there, I think you'll see a bit more going on towards the south. But of course, it's all going to accumulate around the top floor, inside Commander's office, inside bathroom, inside bedroom, because that'll be the verticals they need to make this attack work.
Got a little bit of a standoff here. I think they are well aware of J9O's position. Nade puts in. That was really well played. You know, just showing the perfect use of those nades. When you throw a nade, it won't detonate until it's bounced off a surface. Once it does that, the fuse begins. And so just putting it into a little corner like that is a brilliant way of forcing somebody out of position. You have your second gun there ready to fire and cut them off as they do. Brilliant stuff. Not only have they lost J9O, they've lost the Warden as well. Smart. They've got smokes, they've got flashes. They can take advantage of that.
This is that wall I was talking about being opened up as well. Savage can now see straight through in towards dorms. Of course, gets a bit of an angle in towards games at the same time, so they can put a lot of pressure down, but it's Ashen finding Mowgli. Again, a player that I've remarked on a few times throughout the game has been found out quite early. Naturally, as the entry you expect it. That's been chewed up and spat out now. 4v4 ensues.
Just look at who he sees, the man. Ashen thinking about taking
Surely
the fight, but he's keeping himself alive for now. He knows that Doom is out there, and he just wants that view. Doom hops out of the window. The shield gets turned toward him. Ashen is just suffering from timing a little bit here. Noah does take him down, but Fultz was able to grab the Blackbeard along the way. But they are pushing now Secret from that south side a little bit more aggressively.
Yeah, you have Benja jumping into the courtyard hallway and looking to provide support from that door. Nooses in the rotating towards bathroom. 3 players all focused on trying to hold on to briefing. They've gone 1-for-1 inside of there, and now they're stepping in. Nooses had no idea what was coming. Plant going down in what you may now refer to as default. Benja, though, wins 1 and wins 2 again! 2 rounds on this map. He's pulled out the impossible, it feels, and has wrestled rounds away from Secret. SSG carry on in commanding position, 6-4, and not dropping a single round in this second half.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a bit of frustration for Team Secret there because, like you say, those 2 rounds that Benja has won, the 1v2s, it's basically coming down to a 50-50 gunfight. It's the man on cover versus Benja, and when he wins that kill, then yep, the next one onto the planter is easy. So it's all about that 1v1 that you're giving him when you try to put the diffuser down. You don't have a choice, but what they do need to do is start winning those fights against Benja in that position, but it's easier said than done.
He's kind of exposed his whole body there inside the doorway. I don't think they were 100% clear on where Benja was, but either way, he's hit some massive shots to put his team up to map point. Lair awaits our second if SSG can get this round done. Otherwise, Tim, we're asking for 2 rounds from Secret to get us to overtime, but I think it's a pretty tall order to see them recover 2 in a row after winning nothing in this half.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I don't think Secret have got the attacks here. It's like we said, look, new maps, we often see this, that defenders have, you know, that little bit of a grace period to begin with whilst it gets figured out, and they have that bit of an advantage. And so a lot of the time it does come down to, you know, who can win the more attacks. And SSG are looking like that's going to be them this time around. It's 6-4. They need 1 more round, and look at this. A little bit of aggression possibly. Benja just waiting by that door. The shots come in. Unlucky for him. Fortunately for Secret, it was the shield player of Savage. Otherwise, they are dead to rights.
Absolutely, and Logeno is getting a bit of pressure building around us, has to be careful. Again, all the focus is going to start off towards this northwest part of the map. Barely anyone really right now is actually down near Sites itself. They're not worried about a backstab in towards Sites itself, for example, because they'll know about it coming in. Not worried there, and instead it's about the roam and trying to contest on towards these players that are playing out on the balcony.
Just going to be looking to get themselves on inside. We can see there's nobody from Secret yet. 50 seconds in, nobody inside of the map. Again, it's been another bit of a symptom, really, of this map has been not taking sort of control too quickly, too aggressively, or too confidently. And they've got the glass that they're going to try to work in behind, I think, but just see themselves stunned out. Adrian manages to take as little ground as possible, really, and sticks the plant. So the opportunity was there. Captures SSG by surprise, I think, but doesn't really matter. 3 kills come in, 5v2, and Secret just scrabbling to hold on now.
Really cool execute there for sure. And now Ash is going aggressive on the outside. June, does he know about what's going on off towards his side? I don't know. It's the bending window they've got to worry about, because if Ashen steps across, he could get a freebie. I think the Ash is watching him, so really all eyes on Doom here to be able to hold it down. Looks for one, can't quite find his man, looks for the second, misses that one too. There's traps going off from the Thorn behind him as now we start getting the defuse going down. 2 players down at this point, trying to knife his way through. I don't think he'll get there in time, unfortunately. No, he will not. SSG not dropping a single defensive round. They take the first win on Fortress here at SI 26.
Beautiful performance from SSG there on Fortress. Secret certainly deserve a mention too, but ultimately SSG the ones that were looking more comfortable on defense. Very little Secret could do, and a nice play at the end there. Always love to see the use of utility like that with that Keeper barricade to block off and create the space they needed to disable that diffuser. Great stuff from the North American side, and they take the advantage in this EU-NA matchup.
Yep, still potentially 2 more maps to come. We'll find out how they go after a short break.
SSG are the first team at the Six Invitational to get a win on Fortress, the newly added map to the map pool, and they did it with style as well. I mean, we're talking about a flip in the script. Somewhere in the middle of this game, we found out that SSG had the right game plan going into this one.
Yeah, sorry, I was just laughing. Ask was happy to be on telly there. They were all waving with the Black Dragons players, who will shortly be starting on
A lot
the
of
stream.
Brazilians here.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, the last half is phenomenal. I feel like it's really started off with Twister from Secret going, you know what, guys, I got the game plan. He calls a technical timeout and says, guys, they're just playing their fundamentals, they're playing their layers and systems. They're going to fall back and keep giving you map space. Just play good execute-oriented operators. You will see the bomb site, you can pick it apart. Literally, then we see the following round. SSG, they're not falling back. They're fighting for their lives on the roam, and while they're not fully successful, it comes down to Benji being last alive, and he, Jack, what does he do?
Yeah, he was incredible, the little Danish guy. I think, yeah, he clutched up twice. Not just once, but twice, both in very, very similar scenarios. And that is just the quality of Benja, isn't it? You know, and this is where he gets brought into this roster. You know that he's got this quality. He is unflappable in these situations. This pistol shot, by the way, absolutely incredible. Not just the first time that he did it against
That's
Doom,
the roam round.
but also the second time, the composure. And that's what's happening, you know. No team was really putting the screw to one another. It was mainly the defense that was coming out on top. But when the strategy isn't quite working, you want the main player, you want the big game player to step up and win you those rounds, because that was only a 7-4 victory. Those rounds in theory go to Secret on the balanced probabilities that they're 2 versus 1s. We currently could be playing in overtime. So Ben just stepping up, getting the job done for his team on that map.
Yeah, so woulda, coulda, shoulda, I guess, in that case. But yeah, Benja against June. We talked about it, right? The former teammates going up against each other now, and we see them in the head-to-head, which Benja is clearly winning on this side right now. A great PD in that matchup. Yeah, but it can turn, right? We're going to Secret's map pick now. We're going to Lair after this, and surely that's going to play a little bit different because teams will actually have information on each other for this map.
Yeah, they're both going to know each other, themselves, their opponents. Everything's going to be much more in the know, in the clear.
Yep.
But there's going to be that slight mental boost to things, right? SSG now, their things are working, their comms are flowing, they're feeling good, they got good prep work. It's a dangerous spot to be in if you're Secret.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and just to quickly pull back on a point that you said, you talked about the timeout that Twister had and how he was talking about the game, and he'd analysed the game quite right. But I think Callout at the same time, when he was talking to his boys in that timeout, made them change that playstyle. And that depth of strategy pool for SSG is what's currently impressing us so far in this tournament. They pulled on that, they used that. They're going to need the same thing on Lair, because Lair's a map where you can really bunker down.
Yeah.
But it's also a map that you can be expansive and you can attack different ways, you can defend different ways. It's a good map for different strategies, and that's SSG's key strength right now.
Exactly, that's it. I was going to say the exact same thing. Secret, like I said in the very beginning, they're being tested on their adaptation on the fly, because Twister can't save his boys every single stop here. He has one tag timeout, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, can Secret turn the tide? The map is ready, so we're going to send it to Ace and Des to find out.
Thank you very much, Anne. Indeed, we are. Do they bounce back, or do SSG take that 2-0 and get what could be a very, very good SA campaign truly underway?
Yeah, it's looking good for them so far, isn't it? I think, you know, as the desk have said there, just that depth of strategy they've got options available to them, but also the technical ability is great. And we've got another bit of technical ability come as we head into map 2. It's Secret versus SSG.
Well, there is still one of our newer maps in the pool, Tim, but I think it's fair to say that many have got a pretty good grasp on it right now. And Secret starting on the attack. I've already said they are the best attacking team in the world by attacking round win rate. SSG, I'm sure, knew they would probably have a good prospect to come into this map, so maybe they've cooked some cool ideas of their own. They could yet prove to be a pretty bruising first half. Take a look at our op bans first and foremost. I imagine Shields come in against Savage. Every single team seems to take them away. No, it's going to be the Grim being removed away. We did see quite a bit of Grim actually coming in on the last map, so maybe identifying that's how SSG are making their set-piece plays there to identify where players are, to all push in at once and overwhelm and flood as Grim often enables you to do. Bandit going along with the Mirror, and then Deimos to close things out too. Not a bad one, as SSG did run that quite a bit through Ashen in the first map.
Yep, as you say, Lair certainly more established now. No room for any excuses anymore. Everybody should know what they're doing now. And as you say, we'll see how this one goes. I'm a little bit concerned for Secret here. EU haven't had the best start to this Invitational so far. I think it's fair to say it's been a little bit up and down. There have been successes, there have been failures, kind of middle of the road for them at this point. You feel like NA have carried maybe a little bit more success, although not to spoil anything, if you're going to watch the game later, maybe just mute for a couple of seconds. But a Shopify Rebellion did lose earlier on the B stream to D+ Gear, so every region kind of seeming to have that roller coaster at the minute, and I love it because it just creates so much chaos.
It does, and may chaos reign. Let's see how round 1 goes. Of course, as you might expect by now, we ought to get things up on this top floor. Already seen it 1,000,001 times. Classically, you see a bit of focusing towards ops, towards the southwest. The player with a backstab later on out towards the eastern display. And normally a bit of pressure coming in from the north as well, down Zulu. So, lots to look forward to. And Rocket, of course, Tim, can't ignore that being quite a centerpiece for the action at the same time. But it does sort of work in layers or stages. One of my favorite things about this site is when we're attacking in from the op side, when you've got all the attackers with mezzanine control, they're trying to get inside a site. Again, it's bottlenecky. It's a single doorway. And it's like when you can use keepers inside of there to lock up behind the desk. We've had clashes in there before. We've had things like we've got in this round, in fact, the Chanka coming out as well to rain down fire on that doorway. There's so many interesting ways to defend it, I think. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the late round plays out, especially.
Yeah, Noah's going to be moving towards Skybridge, and Adrian's on the opposite side looking to support. Fultz does take out Doom. I want to talk about that kill in a second. Interestingly, I think we'll have time now, actually. Interestingly, Fultz is playing the Tachanka in that position around the back of the desk. We know it so well. You know, you've just got to think about hot and cold on Clash, and that's where he's going to be playing. So that spot in behind the desk is usually something that you'll send like a book in to try and open, or a Deimos to try and challenge from below. Whereas in this case, SSG have actually opened it up for themselves. They've just opened the floor up and said, yeah, come on, come and have a look. And when that's happened, they've got the kill onto Doom. So they've kind of reversed that strategy, that technique, that tactic, and it's paid off beautifully for them.
Less pressure from below, not going to complain too much, that's for sure. Now starting to work onto Mez. Again, this is the spot that I often reference. 3 players all gathered up on here, being pinned in by Fultz with that fire from below. And Adrian currently hovering off towards display and Bathroom in a little bit of support. But for now, at least, Secret penned in and waiting to figure out what that next move is. The crucial part being they've still got half the round to work with.
Yeah, the one problem that SSG face at the minute is Noah. He's got himself inside of Ops, and he's just got that line through the side door that enables him to kind of cut things in half and reduces the movement. Had an opportunity to take down the Blackbeard, didn't manage it. Mowgli manages to find the kill, but the trade is there. Savage low health as well. 3 versus 3 it stands at the minute. Utility flying everywhere with the smoke canister activated as well.
I get what Mowgli was trying to do there and going for his fight with his teammates, but has gone down with the 2 Harbourage gadgets in back pocket. They've still got Noah available, and thank God they do, because that now gives them the ability to get inside and make a plan happen. They can even use the Keeper barrier en masse against the opposition here. It has now been destroyed, and we've still got fire coming out from Fultz. Like I said earlier on, this can go on forever. However, he is only down to 6 canisters left, Tim.
Yeah, it's a time factor now. 30 seconds left to go, so Secret can wait this out, but Fultz does get the kill with that fire. Not often that we see it from the Tachanka, but because time's running down, Secret were having to be a little bit more aggressive. Damage is done though. Noah manages to find J9O. 2 versus 2, and there is an opportunity to put this diffuser down. It's all up to Adrian on the cover. He moves in. That was smart because he knew that Ashen was pushing the corridor in. He does a great job to enable his teammate to get that down. Good plant from Secret. Good close out at the end. The cover was perfect from Adrian. He had some beautiful movement out of Ashen's way. Fantastic game sense, and gets the job done.
Really well played as a pair in the close. Fultz was just a little bit too late on getting the fire out. If he gets it out as Noah starts trying to get the diffuser down, different conversation, but I think the pressure coming in over his shoulder was just a bit too much that it prevented him being in the right spot at the right time to get that denial through. So round 1 goes to Secret. We're going to head down to the basement, Tim, into labs to see what SSG can cook up on the defense.
No, they're going to have to cook up a little bit more than they did on the top floor. Well, it was a good effort from them. I thought Fultz played brilliantly on the Tachanka. You know, getting the kill in there is just a nice little added bonus, but he did a great job of holding off that push from multiple directions and enabling his team a little bit. And the Azami play in behind the desk was nice as well. They kind of did all the right thing. They ticked the boxes, but ultimately they came up against the best attacking team in the world on their map choice. You know, it's always going to be a tough one. And Secret, they found a way. Good stuff from them to win out the 2-1. They find themselves now 1-0 up, and as you say, tacking down towards that basement. So I would expect to see some vertical pressure come in from them. They've got the Ram, so that screams that they're going to want to take that mid floor. Ashen is there at present. I think whoever is playing up there is probably going to find themselves maybe being bullied by the Monty a little bit just to move them around.
Was given a nod towards Thorn, by the way. Like, obviously had I don't want to say a minor rework. It was quite major, I guess, in terms of how the traps work.
Definitely.
But we've seen quite a lot of Thorn over the last couple of days across various series. It seems really starting to work her and a Razor Blues back into the lineup.
The problem with Thorn previously was that detonation time, because it was kind of like it wasn't kind of intended to stop entries or anything. It was more kind of area control and info. But ultimately, I think it kind of left her a little bit maybe underpowered because they were never really sort of triggering within time or having an impact. So obviously see a little bit of a difference and a little bit more popularity now, which is what we like.
Yeah, trigger time's far quicker, the radius is far down. How on earth has Jane I know got away with that? A free kill onto Savage, who was working his way up the stairs. That's kind of unforgivable. At least they get the trade onto Ashen and can recover the diffuser, but you've lost the shield, which was no doubt the most important part of this whole attack.
Yeah, losing the Monty there is a big loss, and they do still have the Capitao, so Noah is the one that they need to be focusing towards now. Make sure that they keep him alive because he's going to be the one to create a little bit of space. They do have that mid-floor control as well, having taken Ashen out, so they can do that vertical work with the boogie drones should they choose to. But at the minute, Adrian has worked his way downstairs, and it looks like he's not going to be opening anything up. And this could be a problem for Secret because it's allowing SSG to just play in the power spots inside a site. That's exactly what Fools has just done and picked himself up a kill. I'm a little bit surprised that Secret aren't opening anything up vertically here.
You saw then the damage and the debuff that comes off the back of those Razor Blooms. Not always lethal anymore, much smaller radius to them, but does apply a debuff here, which is going to make life a little bit annoying for Adrian, at least for a short time until that expires. The C4 comes on towards the window, but finds nobody. Onto the doorway, sorry, not the window. So the 4v3 for SSG, though, as we enter the final 60 seconds.
It's now Adrian's heading back upstairs. He's got those 3 boogie drones. Better late than never. He's going to start opening this up, and you're going to see a difference from SSG now. Look, straight away, you can see him running away. You can see him moving. And that's the problem that Secret have faced so far. They haven't done this, so they haven't forced them away. And I think it's a lot of wasted time from SSG, from Secret, realistically, because SSG have just been allowed to stay here for far too long. They've no idea about Benja's position. He manages to get one. Fultz and J9 pick up the others, and that is a reasonably comfortable defense for SSG. I think after losing the Monte, Savage going down early, Secret just got caught up in a little bit of indecision there. Kind of Adrian, I think, tried to fill in a position that wouldn't normally have been his, so then you're going back upstairs with 50 seconds to start moving defenders around. It was all just a little bit disjointed.
When you think about the number of times that you've seen a Blackbeard, any kind of shield user stepping in to be the one that gets the diffuser down there, or at least provide cover while it's happening, that first kill on towards Savage on the Monty, I think really spelled out how the rest of this round would go, and you saw it in the gameplay from Secret. It was very slow, it was laboured, it was trying to adapt on the fly to figure out, okay, what do we do in absence of having a shield to be that tip of the spear that steps in towards site and gets the diffuser down. They paid for it, and now these are up one apiece. So both teams getting on the board nice and early in this game. Where do we go from here, Tim? Well, we go, of course, to the first floor? First floor.
The first floor.
Counting systems. Ugh.
It's the first floor.
Yeah.
We're going to see. Look, we're going to see a large top floor. We've spoken about this an awful lot. This defense and the attack as well. We will expect to see that external wall opened up. The thermite gets chosen onto now by June, and then it'll be usually a push towards taking some top floor control. Some teams will decide to just launch the utility in and try and go for it. If that's going to be the case, we'd usually see a sense on side as well. This time just the Ying. We've got the smokes on the Capitao, maybe not enough to do that. So I would expect to see a little bit of pressure towards top floor. But if we look across the side of SSG, we can see there's only 2 of them up there, Ashen and Fultz at the minute. So there is possibly an opportunity for Secret to go and get that control.
It's kind of the same as what we saw back on Fortress, and we heard the frustration from Twister about it, I guess, to a level, was just how ratty they were being, how aggressive they were being in the early round, SSG were, and how it was then causing problems for the side of Secret. With this being a more known map, they shouldn't get stung by anywhere near as much, but Ashen has still managed to get rid of Adrian and get away with his life, taking no damage, all 3 smokes in back pocket. Perfect, because look again at who has been removed, arguably the most important operator in the round in the Ying. That's 2 rounds in a row. They've lost crucial operators very early on.
Yeah, you don't always get to choose who you get when you find those early kills, but it is down to the other side to make sure that those important players are not being put in risky situations. Duke does find Benja, a lot of damage done there. Noah is down as well. Fighting continues. SSG just looking to get aggressive here. They get backed up as well so they can get the kill onto Noah. Very nicely done. Forklift with a big double though onto Ashen and Fultz. 2v2 after a bit of chaos on the top floor.
Got a little bit too focused in there and trying to get rid of the down player. It just lets Mowgli come in from behind them through green door and gets a freebie. Wasn't enough cover there coming in from Nuas, who now falls down to Mowgli. May well have saved this round for his team. J90 with it all to do against the shield and against Mowgli, who's on a tear. Best of luck.
Yeah, Mowgli's been a little bit quiet so far today on Fortress, as we said, and they could really do with one of those big kind of hero performances out of him to carry them towards map 3. 1 versus 2, but an absolute age on the clock. So Secret thinking about putting the diffuser down, but as they hear the footsteps, they think, nah, we're going to go for the challenge, but they need to be careful there. I like what they did though. Mowgli just rotated himself around that rear side and took the kill from behind, and that's going to be another round to Secret. 2-1.
Yeah, good 2v1 played out. Pressure being created by the Blackbeard, and then onwards from Twister being told stop. Calm down. Which is rare normally against SSG. It'd be SSG, imagine getting the warning for being a bit quieter than Ashen can be. But clearly both teams, I think, very, very keen to get this series moving in their direction a bit further. SSG, of course, have got that comfort blanket of winning Fortress first. Club does await as that final map if we have to get there. One of the classic maps in Siege where both teams will be tested on their fundamentals. Lair, for now, at least leaning towards Secret on the attack.
All right, then let's get ourselves on into round 4. That was beautiful nitro that came through there. I think on a different day, pushes. If basically anybody other than a Blackbeard, they've got themselves a double kill there. But unfortunately, it wasn't for them. At least it was a Blackbeard, and he stayed alive. So round 4 will see us back up to the top floor. Secret very confident in attacking this time, last time around. They got themselves into ops. No one moved in there so quickly. I'd like to see SSG maybe try and just hold them at bay for a little bit. He went straight up, opened the Skybridge door, then back across into ops, into that position, opened up onto the plant spot and was able to just kind of sit there and control, cut off the middle of sight by being on that door. So SSG, I think they need a little bit of a plan to just hold on to that area and prevent him going in there quite so easily. The other push then came up into mezzanine, and Secret very easily kind of took over this whole rocket and mezzanine area, and it was a big problem for SSG.
It's the main focal point of this top floor, no doubt about that, and really SSG's response in this round, if you look at their lineup, it's all about time waste, right? Towards the Kai and the Tuber out, in towards the Goy, the smoke's coming out, and of course the Goo mines just to impede enemy players that little bit longer. There will be work for Secret to do here, so they can't take too long in the starting parts of the round, but of course the curse of building up for a very, very turtle-style setup is you don't really have loads to go aggressive with early in the round. Maybe a C4 or 2 if you really fancy it, but otherwise it's a case of sort of trying to stem the flow as best you can, but accepting the Secret are going to be executing at some point, and your job is to slow them down. Noah being removed, that's massive, because it's the ace offline, one of their only ways to get through what is now currently a fully electrified wall. Mowgli's all they've got left here, and normally he likes to play entry.
Exactly what I was talking about, not allowing him to go in there and just take over ops and move through into that power position. Great stuff from SSG. Savage has recovered the diffuser, but he's scarpered with it. He's having nothing to do with that now. He doesn't want to be getting into ops because there's, as you say, with that electrified wall, very little that they can do from there. It's now got to go to plan B. That's likely a rotation over the roof, join Adrian on the other side and try and push in maybe from that bathroom angle and get in towards where Benja is holding inside a site. So SSG need to recognise this and train some guns over that side, which they are doing at the moment. Mowgli has joined from mezzanine as well, so it's all shaping up for that kind of southeast-sided push.
Again, just a little bit nervous here. The Mowgli's the one looking to take early engagements down towards display when he's the only one that can get this wall opened up. Either they forsake the wall entirely and make use of the Capitao to drop smokes in and go for a plant in behind the desk, or they bail and try and rotate over towards R6 room instead, the B site, and make that be their go-to. And in fact, they may well be, because Savage, with the diffuser on side, has moved over towards that side of the map.
Yeah, it's definitely a push towards where Benja is positioned. You can see on the left of your screen, smoke canister has come out to try and slow them down. Mowgli gets a good kill onto J90, starts creating a little bit of space. He's also looking to just clear out behind desk. Fultz has been forced back, but he'll take one with him as he goes. 4 versus 3 SSG now. 50 seconds left to go as the utility starts to fly in, but Secret, they're not moving behind it. They're just sending the flashes in to try and create a little bit of chaos. Savage manages to spray down Benja. Adrian onto Fultz, 2v2, and again, somehow on this top floor, Secret find their way back into things.
They can definitely get the plan, because the last 2 players left alive are on Mez and Rocket. They've kind of swapped places in a way, where it's Secret that have got the site, and now the retake from SSG is going to be massive. Ash Ashen trying to push forward here, making use of that smoke to make it a bit safer, and he manages to get rid of Savage. How many times a day are we going to see Savage try and be aggressive and get down by the other side? It's unfortunate for him, and it's all down to Adrian. Toxin on display window, 1 for 3 into a 1v1. Secret have lost so many of these today. Is it their time to shine? It's him versus Newers, and sure enough, Adrian goes big to give Secret a 3-1 lead.
That was a great call on the rotation from Team Secret there. So as soon as they lose Noah, as soon as they lose the ace and that ability to breach the wall easily, I know they still have the hard breach charges, but you're not going to get a very good... You're working with a vault breach, you're trying to get in and plant. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. They make just a very quick call. Savage, go and get the diffuser, and he rotates over, and he goes over to that B-site window, and he just waits there until they've got the clearance, gets in, and then in the 2v2, they take the opportunity. They recognise that they've been able to force the remaining SSG defenders out towards the office side, out towards that desk, and just keeping them at bay over there is easy for Adrian while that diffuser goes down, and then a great clutch at the end in the 1v2. Beautiful stuff from Team Secret to get themselves now 3-1 on the attack, showing just why they're the best in the world when it comes to playing on this side of the game.
Just very, very decisive of thinking what they look to do, but also very, very capable operating as individual players like Savage there. That was his first kill that he's got all game long, and he was the one going in towards display. He was being aggressed from 2 different directions. Baits Ashen, who's more close towards site, then immediately spins onto the R6 room door, kills the player pushing him from there, and Ashen's sort of left in no man's land. He can't push 1v1 in that spot against the DMR coming out of the Lion, so it was really good stuff. Does eventually get him later, but as we see, he can then turn towards Adrian to do the business for his team. So a really good round from Secret. Of 3-1, as I mentioned earlier, down to the basement we go once again, where they lost the shield very early on last time. The Monty sprayed in the back inside the first minute or so, so hopefully they keep him alive a little bit longer this time, at least long enough that he can have an impact in the round.
Swapping mags!
Straight away, again, shaping up behind a shield. Blackbeard has been taken away from them, but Savage is on the blitz instead. It looks like they are sort of shaping up for that build together. They definitely want this Tachanka gone. They're trying to get aggressive. Great quick thinking from Fultz there. Just putting those fire canisters down to prevent the pressure mounting onto him, but Adrian manages to find Newers elsewhere. SSG, they've got big problems here. They're already on the back foot in a major way. 5 versus 3 as Noah picks up Fultz. Is starting to fall apart, but a couple of kills might just bring them back into it, but I think it's too little too late.
Again, it's the power of a shield. They've all had eyes on Savage there, trying to stop his rush forward. And as they've stepped out to try and challenge him from the side flank, there has been another player nearby to bring him down. Benja very much left alone here, cornered in by the blitz and finished off by Doom. Excellent attacking round there, where SSG were just completely out of position, not ready to deal with that kind of aggression that quickly. 4-1 to Secret.
Good call from Secret there, just getting in. And last time they struggled to attack onto that site, that was the one win that SSG has had, was down in the basement. And Secret this time saying, you know what, let's forget about that mid-floor control. Let's forget about all the other bits that go with it. Let's just go straight to site and see if we can create a little bit of space. And they did that beautifully. So, yeah, Secret looking super, super powerful on the attack of Lair.
Quick tech pause coming in here as well. We get that rectified before we get into round 6. For a second, I was like, surely we're not having an attack timeout now. That would be crazy talk to use it as you're going into the very last round, but it's been bruising for SSG, Tim. Even if they win this next round, they're down 4-2. They've got to win 4 attacks of their own. And yes, Secret aren't as good on the defense as they are on the attack. You can't hold that accolade as the best attacking team in the world and the best defending team in the world. Otherwise, very good chance you're going to be winning everything that God sends your way. So, as it stands, a lot of work for SSG to do. For replays from that last round, you'll see again all the focus comes on towards Savage. It was the one when he was coming in from the east side that really impressed me, because Fultz, of course, was very focused on keeping him away with fire. Newers thought, oh, if Savage is watching Fultz and get a sidestep here, what he didn't know was Adrian was then coming in off towards his right-hand side and got a free kill on towards Newers. So Savage really sucking up all the attention for his team to then capitalize off the back of. It's what Secret are known for. Very commonly get 3 shields banned away against them. And you can see why, given how the previous round went.
We'll get everybody back in just as soon as we can. The players will be left with their own thoughts for a moment or two while we get this one squared away. But I'm really glad that this looks like it could be going towards that third map. I think both of these teams have shown us some good siege. They both kind of put in a marker down. They came in on the back of strong 2-0 wins yesterday. This was always good. I personally think this is the fight for the top of the table in this group, and it's not disappointing. at this point. I think, you know, I'd like to see SSG get a little bit more competitive here on Lair. At the minute, it is very clear that this is Secret's map pick, and particularly, you know, how strong they are on the attack. Let's not forget, you know, SSG have had the choice of sides here, given that it's Secret's map pick. So, you know, this is the side they thought they could do the best of. It's not going to get any better, likely, in the second half for them, especially Secret defending here on Lair. We know how good they are, so we are kind of eyeing up that Clubhouse decider, and it could be one for the ages. Bit of map 3 overtime, anybody?
Wouldn't that be lovely? The optimist, I think, for NA&E would definitely point to this being the game that decides top of the group, but then there's also Fluxo, W7M in this group. XG, I guess you can't ignore, but they did get quite handily dispatched off in their game. Where it'll really start to count, I think, as we go through these next couple of days, is the fact that one of these teams doesn't get to play on Friday. If you don't play on that last day and other teams are still playing, you're just sat watching. You can't do anything about it. You're relying on other teams to ensure that you get the finish you're after. Because a reminder, you finished in first place, you go to the second round of the upper bracket. Second and third place go to the first round of the upper bracket. Fourth place goes straight to the lower bracket. And fifth, well, I'm afraid you go home early before you even hit playoffs.
Yep, there will be one team that will be disappearing from the tournament, from each group, when we get to the end of this first phase, and of course everybody wanting to avoid being in that situation. So
it's Secret that don't play on Friday, by the way.
Oh, okay. This is the thing. I guess you can look at it two ways. It's, you know, yeah, you're not playing on Friday, so you can't kind of influence anything. But the point is, you've got 4 matches. You've got to get the job done in those 4 matches. You know, you get the best results that you can across them, and you've got to get your work done within the
I'd like to not go into Friday sweating the whole day. I'd like to think it's my day off, I can chill out a little bit. Who cares what the others are doing? We're finishing first place, no one cares.
Exactly.
That's why winning this is so important.
Just get the job done ahead of time, and then you don't have to worry about it too much. I'd be surprised if either of these teams have any kind of worries come the end of the week. But like you say, it's just about whether they're in a position that they want to be or not.
Okay, let's see if that attack timeout has any effect on either team. I imagine for SSG it's a good chance to think some things through, talk about how best you might get the second defensive round on the board. We are up on this top floor. Well, they haven't been, I would say, like ill fortune for the most part. They got Noah out quite early on last time around. Could well be looking for the same again with Benja underneath, I imagine, with a C4 in back pocket. Indeed there is. Just waiting for someone to step across. So if drones haven't found him out downstairs, being for a bit of a rude awakening, especially for Noah, who's already in the area.
Nade is ready to go out, will be sent in. Challenge follows it, but it's Ashen who picks up the first kill with that shotgun onto Savage.
The number of early kills that he's got playing against Windows or anything is ridiculous.
How many times are they going to punish the important operator, though? Savage died on the Monty. Savage has died on the Ying. Adrian died on the Monty, I think, as a first kill. Sorry, on the Ying as well on an earlier round. You know, they are just being able to pick up these sort of important execution operators before they get to that stage of the round over and over at SSG, and it hasn't really paid dividends too much for them so far. You kind of got a feel for them.
It's a bit of a bugger, but at the end of the day, all that really matters is that score at the top of your screen, and it still heavily leans the way of the blue team in Team Secret. However, they've got the focus going, and now they've got this breach opened up in towards site, and there's Noah going in for a plant already. Might be looking in for a kill here. Noah's going to be the one to find Adrian. Noah is going in deep along with June by the looks of it. They've got a couple off the back of it, Tim, in a spot where they can get a plant down here in a moment, as long as the cover is there. All down to Ashen by himself, who's now got to step on forward. Has one smoke in back pocket. If he places it well, this could be beautiful, but I think he's just about missed it out. Noah going to finish that off, and Ashen has got a lot of work to do to recover this.
Yeah, really well played from Doom on the cover there. We just saw him sending that flash utility across in towards Ashen's position and preventing him being able to push forward. No one knows the peak is coming. Steps around, gets the kill. 5-1. Good opportunity spotting from Team Secret there. Noah saw the gap, and instead of going in looking for a plant, went straight in, got aggressive onto that desk position, cleared it out, got kills, then went back for the plant. Really nicely done. Phenomenal attacks from Team Secret. Really impressive.
I think it looks almost pedestrian for them. They won all 3 attacks on that top floor, and only in one of them did they have to rotate away from Mez, and that's because Mogi went down, they lost their hard breach potential, and then rotate over to R6 room. Otherwise, it has been the same attack twice. And we've seen SSG try and make the odd change. The C4 from Benja below maybe helping, but as soon as he's droned out, it's no longer a threat. Just didn't really offer enough to reinforce the defense on that side. So unfortunately, they find themselves with a bit of a mountain to climb here on Lair. They go on the attack, and we start things, as you may expect, up on the top floor.
Let's see if Secret can do a better job here on the defense then, and whether SSG can break them down. Last time around, as you say, Secret, their attacks have completely focused around Mezzanine. A little bit of attention in through Ops and getting that wall open. But other than that, we've seen no attention out towards our 6 room, no attention out to that far corridor, to Skybridge, to anything else. There are very, very possible attacks from that side as well. So we'll see which SSG choose to go for. Maybe a combination of the two. If we look at that defensive lineup that we're going to be seeing, no major surprises there. We've got the Denari. I think we'll see that. We'll keep an eye on where those trip connectors go, but I would expect to see them maybe out towards that kind of B-side window. And then we've got the Goyo canisters, which will be in position to prevent, I would expect, to push towards that plant side.
Towards the display window. Gives you the little info. Someone does go hopping in. It's all about the info game rather than strictly trying to kill someone or deny them from getting inside the building. It's going to happen. Key one probably here is Moke is the one playing on Mez and looking to contest him towards Ops. They've got barbed wire down inside of there. Normally you'd even see an Azami step actually into Ops, kind of like he's doing now, and get a couple of Keeper barriers down so you can play in there slightly more aggressively, waste a bit of time. It's the kind of stuff that SSG wasn't doing that gave so much control over to Secret early in that first half. So at least here, Secret are showing a little bit more desire to push SSG away from Ops.
Yeah, I like that. You know, as I said, when SSG were defending there, they wanted to see more pressure onto that Ops side. Don't allow them to just come in and take that space and get that breach. It's going to be Ashen on the Blackbeard that looks to push towards there initially. Benja has got in underneath as well to try and support with a little bit of work from the book. Doom is the one tasked with holding off that far side that I spoke about, but looks like he might actually have a little bit of joy. Ashen is kind of in between Ops and Skybridge at the minute. A little bit of indecision, but pushes forward into Skybridge now. So Doom could well find himself in a bit of pressure with that Blackbeard coming face to face with him. But he does have the Vulcan canisters ready to pop, should he feel the need to do so.
Still wasting time at that point, isn't it? They've still got lots of chance to do that with Adrian being sat on the Janker. 20 canisters still in back pocket. Another Lion scan rings out, down to their last one here. Lots of utility for both sides to throw at each other. The main warrior, I think, Tim. We're halfway in that round now, and you can see basically every single Secret player is gathered and staring up towards green here. They're expecting that to be where the push comes in from, and this is the one angle that we didn't see Secret attack from at all. Have they got the right read in this? Do they keep them at bay through a bottleneck? We'll find out as J9O rotates over towards the display window, looking to put some pressure in of his own.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's just going to make it a little bit more difficult for Adrian to hold the position as the Tachanka. He just needs to be a little bit careful about how far back he strays and that he doesn't expose himself to that line of sight. But he does have Noah on the Denari backing him up. But as you say, the rest of SSG are over on this top side, looking to aggress and create pressure from our 6 room. Fultz is in there, has the diffuser as well. Beautiful rotate from Doom to go downstairs and take Benjamaster out. Now, that's fantastic because he was causing a real nuisance of himself with the book. J9O gets a double though as they try to get aggressive. That could be a bad call from Secret. 3 versus 3, and they're in the sight, SSG, and they're starting to do some work, but Secret somehow standing tall.
Might be a 3K for one, but it's a 3K for the other. Doom turning into a bit of a demon in the round himself. News with the ultimate recover, was sat downstairs watching out for any C4s that could be used, but now has to sprint upstairs and try and recover this round. And Moby's watching. Entered a trade between players for a while, Tim, but that's what leads to the end of the round. Secret carry on 6-1 here on Lair.
Yeah, I like that play from Doom going underneath because Benja was causing an absolute nuisance. As I said, he was under there with the skeleton key, and we could see how much of the ceiling he'd ripped out from above him, and so many safe spaces had been removed.
On my B2 and stuff.
Fine, fellas. I'm just calling down right now to kill the momentum. We're not changing the plan though. That round was perfectly fine. Just detach, listen to the comm, keep fucking cranking. For the bunk side bulker, the only thing I'll say, because I kind of cut out the end there, if it is too much wall, then I'll just say fuck it and just go around it.
Yeah. Right. I agree.
Alright. What do you want me bringing instead? Bunk?
Frankly, just take extra gorilla.
Ying?
I would say.
Gorilla?
Yeah, just take extra gorilla.
Alright.
Was there you the B2 player?
Yep, with you. Bunk.
Maybe
And
we
just
need
work.
to add flashes because we need to get the guy to move.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, just read the traps, either gorilla or nomad. It's fine, either one.
Alright, let's go.
No, let's go.
Bravo.
I was going to say no rush, lads. We've only got 45 seconds. Probably the fewest words said in tap timeout I think I've ever heard.
Well, I mean, it did open up with call out saying, I've called it just to break momentum. So,
which I think is fair to say when you're at map point and have got 5 rounds to climb.
I think it's one of them
Momentum
where,
keeps breaking.
you know, if you're SSG, there's an element where I think you're already looking towards the next map. You know, of course you're playing to win it. Of course you're taking it round by round. But I think, you know, kind of as a coach at least, I'm looking at that and thinking, we need to win Clubhouse. That's what we need. You know, my brain power now is on, let's make sure we win Clubhouse. What am I going to say to these players after we've lost Lair? How do I make sure we're in the best position we can be in to win that third map? Because, we might come back and win this one. It happens. The way that Secret are playing, I'm going to say it's very unlikely, and they probably know that as well. So, yeah, I think, you know, a lot of the concern, a lot of the focus will be towards Clubhouse and just kind of take this a round at a time, which is, you know, why they're saying, well, yeah, maybe change this up, maybe change that up, but just do what you can, and we'll see how it goes. But Secret have just looked electric on Lair. I don't think anybody's going to be rushing to play them on Lair anytime soon.
Real challenges, of course, you have to attack timeout, and they were speaking about bringing along flashes to unseat one of the players, but they haven't attacked them on the downstairs yet, so it's the first time they're seeing this site, this setup, everything else coming out of Secret, and so it's a chance for SSG to, I guess, reformulate the game plan a bit if they've seen a consistent problem, but they've only had 1 round on the attack, not a lot to work with, so I don't think you'll see too much impact coming out the back of that. Here comes Benja working his way down towards Mowgli, who, as you can see, he's off towards his right-hand side on the Skopos. Does he get away with a freebie here? May well do, but no, misses his man. Could have been a golden opportunity, but Mowgli lives.
Yeah, that's the sort of opportunities, and again, I know it's the blink of an eye, but it's the sort of opportunities that you've got to take at this level when they present themselves, and it's those moments that can leave you kicking yourself. So, we have a look at this. We've got everybody downstairs apart from Doom, all the way up on top floor in display. Not sure how aware of that SSG are, because he absolutely annihilates Benja with a shotty.
He must have had no idea he was there. That was one hell of a spin on the shot with the shotgun. Beautiful stuff, and Benja's just thinking, what more can I do? Not a lot on this map,
Benja don't know what day it is after that.
Oh, he had such a great time on Fortress. He's 2-8 on this map. He has been kept so quiet by Secret. You can see that comfort on the map building on through. The echo of Adrian will fall to Newers. Still a lot of space and a lot of time to work with.
Adrian gives himself away a little bit there. I'm not sure he needed to challenge that. He was kind of just caught, you know, in no man's land. If you're going to peek, you know, peek, but at least peek around the frame. You know, he was just stood bang in the middle of the doorway. So it was an easy pickup. Fultz manages to find Doom eventually. So now 4 versus 3. A minute left. There's 2 minutes been wasted by Doom on the roam there, and Adrian supporting as well, but losing that Yorkai and Echo is certainly not the best. He's causing a problem. You gotta go one way or the other, Savage. 3 versus 1 as SSG. The attack timeout certainly seems to have done a bit of something for them. It looks like they're going to get themselves their first attack.
What I will say to this is it feels it's like Secret have gone really aggressive across the map here, and they've paid the price for it ultimately. This is where things have gone wrong, and sure enough, SSG will get on the board. Now, don't blame Secret for that. Get up in their face, try and contest them around the map. Whatever game plan they're formulating to try and get back on the board, it's a good way to upset it, but it just didn't stick because SSG a bit too ready on the gunfights there. Good round for them. Still a 4-round deficit to climb. We'll see if they can do it on bunks and briefing.
Yeah, I think from Secret's perspective, you've got rounds to spare. You're 6-2 up. They're not going to do that forever, but yeah, let's just have a go. Let's get out in the map. Let's try and get slippy. Let's try and cause them a problem. You know, ultimately, it didn't really work out for them, but never mind. You know, go next and see if you can do it. That was brilliant. You know, you see if you can do it in the next round. But yeah, like I said, when you're on the Echo and you stood in the middle of the doorway like that, I don't think you really need to be doing that. This was brilliant, the indecision from Savage. He was like, no.
And what I love, even them, the Deimos was still pre-firing just in case he did push into him. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Pay the price to lose the round, onwards we go. What I like about this next site that we're coming into is so commonly on the attacking side, we're used to seeing now like Stens being ran, you always roll in a couple of light screens, you try and avoid getting shot from above. If you haven't got control of that, you plant inside, away you go from there, right? Here we're not seeing any of that coming out by the looks of it from SSG. No one's gone in towards the Stens. They have gone for Benja on towards the butt, so no doubt do want vertical control, but they're going to have to wrestle top floor control away from Secret first before they can even think about looking at the site.
Yeah, there's 4 out of 5 from Team Secret up on that top floor. A big contrast to the way that SSG defended this site. They, you know, only had 1 or 2. I think it was 2 in the end that they had up on that top floor So Secret certainly wanting to stake a claim up there. We're going to have the external wall opened up fairly quickly, I would imagine, by Fultz. He already is applying those Selmas, so that gives the access point and the pressure to the player inside the site, which will be Doom. But SSG's attention has to turn upwards. It has to turn towards that top flight. They've got Mowgli, they've got Benja, they've got Adrian all up there on the top floor. Savage as well joining them on and around Mez. He's got the line into bathroom, and it's an awful lot of space that needs to be cleared by SSG.
You just can't really afford to rush into site and make a plant happen, even if you spot everyone off site, because there are just so many vertical angles that are exposed. It's almost impossible to plant unless you can get in and get rid of some players first, and that's what they're going for. Dockabee coming on through, but Adrian wins out the 1v1 onto Ashen, looking for another, not quite finding him. It's Fultz to get the reverse. So a trade being secured off the back of that first phone call, a moment of peace. But no doubt when that next call's available, we'll see it kick off all over again.
Yeah, great use of the bathroom windows from Fultz there, just putting sort of peak holes in both of them so you don't know where the challenge is going to come from. Benja manages to pick up nowhere as well. 4 versus 3 now. SSG into the ascendancy again, maybe just building a little bit of momentum, but it's absolutely free for Mowgli. He goes crazy and gets a double, can't make it a triple though. Nuas manages to shut him down, and there's kills from SSG elsewhere. Fultz with the final one. SSG, they are waking up back into this one. I said they might be looking towards Clubhouse, forget that. They want to get this done on Lair. They're fighting back, 6-3.
Big question for you, Tim. At what point do you start to get worried?
If you're Secret, I think another round yet.
Yeah?
I think 6-4, you start thinking, right, come on now. Because the other thing at 6-4 is what will have happened then. That's 3 rounds in a row, so it's a full rotation. So you've not like won any of your sites either. Yeah. I would imagine probably going to go to top floor after this one. I think they've probably played those 2 rounds thinking we'll win it on top. I think that's probably what, you know, the Secret game plan is. Do whatever we want on these 2 rounds, get a little bit aggressive, try and, you know, win it by getting a couple of early kills, because we're going to win it on top floor anyway.
Just saw the 2 bans coming then. Dockabee, no surprise, boats a death battle already today. Very, very good at moving through a map as big as Lair. The other side's ban, though, I really like, because they banned away the warden, which means now they are absolutely free to run things like the Ying every single round, to spam the living hell out of flashbangs and try and find a push on through what otherwise might be quite a very resistant and dug-in entrenched defense coming out of Secret. So I like actually how SSG have approached the ban here. I think they've kind of come out air quotes on top in that regard. Very keen to see how things play from here. They can also, of course, as you're seeing, run the glass. It isn't just all about flashes. They can run smokes too. Lots of choice for them to play with here.
Yeah, key round for me. I think the top floor is kind of like the final boss. You know, getting a team who choose to play Lair up onto top floor. Like I said, that's where they're going to expect to pick up rounds. So if you can come in now and take that away from them on the attack, it's your 3rd attack in a row that you've been successful. You've taken every sight off them, and you're only 2 rounds away at that point, and you leave them with a real headache thinking, you know, where do we go here confidently, because we've lost all 3 of our sites. So yeah, big round coming up. Obviously for SSG, if they lose it, it's over, so it's a big round regardless. But I mean, in terms of, you know, what could be a comeback, this is what could be the real catalyst, the real kind of spark in the powder keg.
Activating This is the first one for the day as well, Tim.
Oh, they've just lost themselves.
Timing as well. So first time focus coming in towards actually opening up the mask wall itself. Normally it's the south double wall on towards Mez that has been the focus throughout this game. You know, historically, there was all kinds of wars going on to try and get the actual mask wall itself. And that's why Mowgli's now dug in there with the bandit, making sure it stays up nice and close. And Doom was for a moment looking to try and contest by the looks of it in towards Ops, but Fultz has forced him back on the Monty.
Doom just going to be holding that desk position, trying to protect Mowgli and make sure that he remains safe. I'm just having a look. There's no buck on the side. It's going to be Benja on the Deimos that's looking probably to play underneath and deal with Mowgli there. Just having a look at Benja's position at the minute. He's not inside of the map. He's on the rappel looking to work the windows on the bathroom side. So Mowgli's largely safe for the time being to try and keep himself in position.
I'm watching Nuas here because he's only got 1 Salma left and there are no other hard breach gadgets on side. They haven't got mask open. They haven't got the south side of mask wall open either. Those are really critical to open up, and he's going to burn it to get through onto Mez.
No.
Don't know about that one, Chief. That means they've got to go in through a single doorway, and I know that you've got a glass on side and you can spam smokes everywhere. it's just an invitation for throwing impacts or C4s or fire in towards where they've got to push in.
Well, what has happened as well is that Mowgli has switched positions with Doom. You can see it here beautifully. So look at where Secret are now. Rather than being positioned out towards Mask Wall, they've recognised they can't do anything about that position. If they could have done, they would have done by now. So the whole team has shifted back over towards that B bomb chassis. Doom has dropped back towards our 6 room. They've got Noah playing display. The whole team shifts back, and so when SSG do finally rotate to try and move into display, they're now coming up to a defense on that side. This is really nice from Secret.
They haven't got time. Ashen can't get through all this fire is the problem. He's going to have to jump in and just take a lot of burn damage. Smokes go down and Fult's topping in as well to the final 30 or so, but there's 2 kills for Secret. Last time they denied this rotation, it worked out in their favor, and it's going exactly the same way again. Nua's in a 1v4. Diffuser is down. He's on the wrong side of the map, Tim. This only goes one way. It's a Secret win in round 10, and we're going to have to see how Clubhouse goes to pick out a winner.
Absolutely no surprise. Everybody wanted 3 maps. Everybody gets 3 maps. One of the best teams in EU, one of the best teams in NA, facing off against each other and both putting in great performances so far. And we get the treat of a little bit of Clubhouse to decide how things go, Des.
Does mean both teams get to work away with at least 1 point each as well, but who gets all 3? Well, we'll have to find out after a short break. See you in a few.
good bounce back from Secret, and they seemed much happier as well because as they were walking up against us, June was throwing all kinds of shapes when they were walking out, so they're feeling much better.
Would you like to recreate it?
No, I'm not dabbing
Okay.
on stream. No,
You're not dabbing on
that's
stream.
very,
I know, it
very
was worth
much,
a try.
Was it 2020 or whatever it
June
was?
did just hit us with a dab, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah. But they feel much better, and it's actually showing in-game as well, because we talk about Secret being so good on the attack time and time again inside the email, and we're seeing it here on this map too.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, and we can maybe forgive them for not being so good on the attack in Fortress. Fortress is a new map. They wouldn't know how Spacestation were going to set up. Now, Secret are really, really good on the attack. Why are they good on the attack? They centralize behind that focal point that is Savage, usually on a shield, played a lot of shields inside of this map as well. And he's the sole voice. He directs his troops around the park, and that's why they're so good on the attack. And I think we saw that coming out from them on Lair. He was playing the shields. They were getting behind him, getting around him, and they felt so much more comfortable. And when you're so good on the attack, you get that half that was 5-1, you're then going to kick on from there. You can see Savage's scorelines there, Nick. You know, you was a support player back in the day. Even when you're doing God's work, sometimes statistically it doesn't quite show. But he was a big reason as to why they got done.
That's it. About 10 rounds into Lair, he was in a 0-2-1 scoreline. And you know, when that's the case and they're winning, things are going exactly according to plan. So we love to see that.
Yeah, the highlight's not to shade him, obviously. It's to say that he's doing his job as a shield player, as that statue inside his team, kind of just existing and helping his team fight towards that victory. And there's one thing that we've been keeping track of for this matchup as well. We talked about it at the beginning. Two teammates facing off against each other, former teammates. And we keeping track of when they shoot each other inside of this matchup. And there's a funny thing that you can talk about. Obviously, a big thank you to Sprabuni for keeping track of these numbers. But Benja is winning that matchup in the first map. And the second one, as to get a winner, Joom is doing much better in that match against his former teammates.
Completely flipped upside down, right? I mean, we saw a couple of the last few rounds here. Joom's walking down a hall with a shotgun, boom, flick onto Benja. Time and time again. He's just finding him. That's it.
It's map specific, where they are subjugating each other to a world of pain in each map. And, you know, obviously there's a lot on the line in this last map. It's the winner, the victory, the points in the group. But there is also that head-to-head of the two players going head-to-head.
And also, it's been a very chaotic first two maps. They've been fighting, and it's been high level. It's been very messy, very chaotic in a good way. We're going to Clubhouse, one of the least chaotic maps for like just going for fights, more about the executes, the setup, so things can really shape up to be different for this one.
Yeah, I think so as well. SSG are actually going to be the ones that are starting on the attacks, so Secret on the defense. We've just talked about how Secret have been so good on their attacks, but you're going to have to ride that out. You're going to have to ride the first 6 rounds out. I actually think both of these teams on this map of Clubhouse that you've, you know, trials and tribulations of Clubhouse, we've seen it for years, that every team has Clubhouse figured out to a T. I would expect both of these teams to be really, really strong on their attacks. So for me, it's whoever implements their attacks the most, whoever leaves the least amount of gaps, whoever's the most in sync is going to come away with the victory.
Yeah, like how you said, there's all kinds of different maps that we're getting to really find out who the better team is inside of this best of 3. And Clubhouse is the final map in the series.
Thank you very much, Anne. Indeed it is. Club to settle things down feels like the best map to go to when you think about this kind of thing, Tim. Back to basics. Really, you can throw down and play Siege at its best at the fundamental level. Who do you think's taking it?
I mean, the social prediction don't have much of a clue. I don't have much of a clue. I think Secret have just carried some really good momentum through there. If they were starting on attack, I'd say definitely. But they're going to have to start on defense, as this one is about to start. It's Team Secret versus SSG.
Fun stat that a bunch at home may enjoy is that Secret are undefeated on this map over the last 6 months. 3-0 record. I haven't played it for about 3 of those months. Of course, not a lot of Sieges happened over the last few months, bar the major we had back in November. And SSG have played it twice as much as Secret have, but have a 4-2 record. So there's a lot to look forward to from both of these teams in terms of how they opt to play the map. We'll get into our bans first. Secret taking Capitao off the board. I think very, very apt for this map. We spoke a lot about Capitao and how powerful he is, especially now that he's got the DMR. And for this map up on Catwalk, a very, very good operator to help clear it away. Kite on the other side, I imagine, joined up by a Bandit, indeed. And the Grim, once again, going to get taken away from SSG.
Yeah, good power up as well. We see the Grim used a lot to create space and to help with executes. Looking at the defensive win rates for this one, both teams on a very, very similar standing when it comes to the defenses. 71-75% are the two numbers between them. But as Fresh kind of alluded to on the desk there, this is a match that could be decided on those attacks. They are both very capable, but Secret have the much better numbers at attacking here on Clubhouse by about 25% better off when it comes to those. So for me, it's looking, like we're going to be asking questions in the second half of this one particularly.
Sure, let's get our lobby recreated and then we'll get straight back into things. But these days, the players have done it a few times. They know how to rifle through into a lobby nice and quick, Tim, so it shouldn't be too long. Also worth us kind of taking a quick moment to just kind of look at where we're at. We're basically at the end of day 2 now as well, which is, of course, for some of these teams, half of their games have been played. For others, still got a couple more to come. They're playing all the way up until Friday. The group stages carry on until the end of that day. They have a couple more days to start things off on the Sunday to decide phase 2. And then, of course, we have the one that everyone's really excited about is that live stage next weekend where we get the year roadmap reveal as well. Tim, of course, we get the trophy. We're at the end of 10 years as well, so it's a big time to, of course, decide who's going to be the 10th winner of SI.
You know me, I just love Six Invitational. If we take a few seconds, we can have a little wander down memory lane. I just love Six Invitational. I love being around it. I watch a lot of the games in the crowd. I always try to watch the season reveal in the crowd as well. Because I was there for the Tachanka reveal that year in 2020. You remember the crowd erupted, went absolutely crazy in Laval, Montreal. And those moments, you don't always know when they're going to come, when they're not, and it's nice to be there to experience and when they do. But yeah, for us, it's our 7th work in it, I think. 7th now? 2020 onwards, including 2020. So
good point.
Number 7 for us now, which, we were very excited once upon a day back in December 2019 when we got asked to do the first one, let alone...
Well, you didn't believe me when I told you.
I know, let alone being here for number 7. But even prior to that, I'd travelled to Montreal and watched as a spectator the year before, 2019. I was there with an elite ticket. I was right down there at the front for the memorable game between G2 and Empire, longest map that we've had on Coastline, of course. I was there, so that one live, and I had a phenomenal time at that one. So I've done the whole spectator fan thing as well. So it means a lot to me to be at Invitational. I know it means a lot to a lot of people, and it's just the way I get to talk to a lot of people, and throughout the week, and you kind of get stopped by people and have little discussions. And the thing that's in common that I think a lot of people say that I always talk to people about is they love the fact, especially when it's people's first events, they're always surprised how good it is being in this kind of shared space where everybody just has the same passion and same love for the same game, and it's like everybody's just immediately got that common interest, and I love it. I love the opportunity to meet everybody.
As we look back into it, I meant to tell that story actually.
Why not?
About how we got given the first SI. We got the email offer probably about 10:30 at night because we're based in the UK, and obviously over in Montreal they're quite some hours behind. So in that case, they were emailing in the afternoon. For us, it was bedtime. And Tim here, he loves a good night's sleep. He was in bed nice and early. The email came through, and the first thing I did was ring him and said, Tim.
Old man hours.
He's like, what you want? And I was just like...
You're lucky I answered, to be honest.
And I was just like, you send your emails? And you're like, no, why? Best impression ever. And I was like, we're offered SI. And it's the only time... Tim's not really a big sweary kind of guy. That's the only time I've heard him go, F off. Like, at me, I was just like... It was great. And then obviously jumped onto his emails and was like, oh, we're doing SI? This is cool. And yeah, that was cool. It was a good while ago. That was
cool.
Long while
ago. I remember turning up, obviously to Montreal as well, and the night before we were due to cast, we'd not worked, or I certainly had. I don't think. I know you'd done DreamHack Valencia prior to that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if Parker and Michael were there for that one.
They weren't.
So
no.
I'd not worked with them before, and obviously, I say this to Parker sometimes. He was like my voice of Siege. Like sort of my early years of watching Siege as a spectator. Him and Michael, of course, Emzo and Milosh as well were the two main pairs that I listened to coming through there. So like we turned up and like Parker messaged the group chat that we'd set up and was like, do you want to grab a drink for an hour and we can kind of just meet and have a little prep in the bar and so we did, and we went and sat down, and that evening was mind blowing. I remember sitting listening to Michael talk about Siege, and it made me feel like I needed to go back and play the tutorial. And at this point, I've played thousands of hours and watched it and cast it for, 2 years at that point nearly. But listening to, the way Michael spoke about the game and the level that he thought of it on, it was one of them where you just thought, I need to go back to basics here. I don't know anything.
Well, like you say, we've done 7 SIs now. If I was listening to Kix talk today about the game, I'd still feel like I had to go back and play the tutorial. It was always one thing he was amazing at, was the levels at which he thought on the game was absolutely spectacular, and obviously led a lot of us to where we are today. And led us into this game of Clubhouse. Secret versus SSG. As I've sort of mentioned already, the winner walks away with 3 points. Well, the loser, they only get 1. So it's quite important for both teams to win this one out. And what a classic map to see the showdown settled on after a brilliant Fortress and a brilliant Lair.
First site we're going to have is CCTV and Cash now. There's an interesting mirror being played. We don't always see it too often. We do see it occasionally. So Juma's played the mirror on the catwalk wall that's reinforced, that looks in towards site. It's going to allow Noah an ability to challenge onto the breach should he need to. But I think it also just helps protect that wall from the long-range breach as well, because both sides have been reinforced. So it's just going to give him that vision into sight and a few options. Mowgli manages to take down Fultz, 5 versus 4, and that is the Glaz gone.
The environmental kill as well, of all things, just sprayed down wildly into the smoke. I don't know if he was anticipating to try and hit the pipe or he was hoping to catch someone as they walked on through, but either way, same outcome. He's got himself a kill onto the one player that can see through smoke. So, 0 complaints here. That initial burst, that initial attempt coming out from SSG has been abated. Bearing in mind, Tim, this isn't even the site. This is the other side of the map. They've got to clear out Mowgli, recover the diffuser, and then look towards the site. But they are bleeding out here. A second player, and Ashen goes down. Secret doing great so far, and here comes Benji to try and rescue it. Not going to happen for long, as Adrian steps across. Is looking all things up. Secret in round 1. They get us going in convincing fashion.
Yeah, really nice there from Secret. They had set up for that push from SSG. They were ready. They had the utility. They had the extension out into construction, out into master. Brilliant stuff from them. I like the mirror window on Garage Catwalk. There was never really any pressure or attention towards that, so Noah was safe and sound. He was able to move through and support the rest of the defense from that CCTV window towards the end of things. But ultimately, yeah, really, really nice from Secret. And to be honest, I feel they're like they've got one of the more difficult sites out of the way. CCTV Cash can be one of those that's a little bit more 50-50. They've got it done, and now they head down to Church and Arsenal for their second site.
Heartbreaking for Fultz, because he was basically through the doorway and ready to just start shooting and pulling away, but just as the environmental goes off, it keeps Mowgli alive. But yes, down to the basement we go then. Certainly an odd start to go Cash DC for round 1, but hey, can't knock it. They came away with the win. With full basement start, and I imagine we'll have a couple of players off-roaming upstairs. I can already see Doom on the mute getting busy upstairs, dropping down those jammers. Very, very good on the top floor because, I've said this word loads today, it's quite bottlenecky. There are a lot of single doorways that you can block off with mute jammers. You can make it more frustrating for the attackers to get intel on who's playing upstairs and exactly where they're sat. This one, of course, going through the wall will block off the drones that come through the doorway on the other side. But it will probably allow players like Savage and Mowgli to sit up here a little bit longer. Probably don't want to have all 3 players on the top floor. Normally you want one sat on the ground floor to be able to drop back in towards site in case there is a fast hit. Don't think we'll see a fast hit given it's the Blackbeard on side rather than something like the Blitz. But there's still a possibility that SSG just say, forget about the roam, let's go direct to site.
Straight away, Benja has got himself in through strip, going to open up the wall through to pool, so that cuts off bar, it cuts off a little bit of that rotate option. Mowgli is up in gym and does have the hatch open, needs to now be very careful about dropping down there because it could be serious problems. As you say, he's going to have to move himself across really and get a bit of an alternative option, maybe down those main stairs, but again, they've got people in those positions watching the window, for example, so Secret, it's not bad for them, it's still wasting time, but they just need to be aware of it and be cautious.
It's kind of a shame in a way because Benja in that spot catches 2 hatch shots where he can stop any players that are doing it, but you'd think that would then lead the rest of SSG to say, okay, if those players upstairs, all 3 of them can't fall back down easily, we should just go and hit site. But they're not. They're still trying to full clear this top floor, which I think is really going to hurt them in the long run of things. Like Ashen's got the run of ground floor. They've largely trapped these 3 upstairs, and I would actually love now for them to say, all right, guys, they're stuck upstairs. Let's just go and smash the site.
Savage needs to be aware of that because he's the one that, of course, can sort of teleport back on the score pass, assuming that his other shell is back in sight. That's too easy, folks. He's just unaware of the fact that that lower wall has been opened up and he gets punished. Ashen is there for the immediate trade, but still, 1:25 left on the clock. We don't have hatches open. There is no access in towards site yet for SSG. Savage is now teleported back to site as well. Really nice from him, but there is still only 2 left alive on site. 4 versus 2, though. Looking good good for Secret.
To be fair, SSG have done what I thought they might try, which is to try and go direct towards site. They've just lost 2 players to the DMR. And off the back of it, that really removes all the wind in their sails. Nua's the last one left alive here. He'll have to probably work his way down through storage with Diffuser in back pocket, but he's got 3 players to work through, Tim. Not a pretty spot to be in, and with the minutes of work with it, isn't exactly like he's short on time, but Secret are not going to make this one easy for him.
In a game where the battle is likely going to be decided over who can attack the best, it is not looking like a great start for SSG. Secret coming out with a really strong defense those first couple of rounds and looking good.
Sounds like maybe have a timeout coming in here potentially too, because it's been an ugly start for SSG, not able to get themselves involved or even close. Let's listen to what they've got to say.
We're going to ban the mirror third here. They're going to ban Thermite though. That doesn't matter. We're going to get the hard breach charges, open up the breaches. For the top side Spoker, we're getting con, single jacuzzi, and servo in every single round against these guys. Off what we need to do for our gem side, fellas, Benja, I want you to fucking keep pressuring below off that. You can either float towards red, or you can just decide to play below the actual site itself and look to wall bang up through it. Keep 1 on the jacuzzi side, Bulker. This is for gem, it's also for fucking cash. If it's cash side, send 2 for the catalyzation, keep 1 on the server side, and then, like I said, I want that guy below, so like Benja was saying, we can either work up red if it's cash, if we can split pressure off that, or if it's fucking gem, same thing. We can decide to work up red off that with the counter pressure being on jacuzzi side. So basically just rip all 3 open, keep 1 post between Logic on side, have the catalyzation option on server, have the catalyzation option on gem side as well. It can work both ways. On the basement.
There we go. All right, so definitely more tactical advice coming out, because I think as call out has seen, both of those attacks really haven't been pretty. They've just been battered around by Secret for the most part. They've dealt with whatever SSG have thrown at them, lacking a little bit of pace there, I say, in these rounds too. But it's just meant Secret, who are quite a pacey team, don't mind just playing around whatever it is that you're throwing at them.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Secret happy to, like you say, just sort of work with what they're given at the minute, and they've taken Cash and CCTV, Church and Arsenal successfully, and they will now move to Gym and Bedroom. I think one thing I'd like to see SSG do, which I don't think they've, if I think back over those first 2 rounds, is they haven't really established themselves in the map very well. At no point have they been sort of in confident control of areas and forced Secret to do anything. Secret have, reacted and just rotated around, like you say, and just continued doing what they want to do. So this time around, we know what to expect, and that is the push across from that cash side. So I'd like to see jacuzzi wall opened, construction wall opened, and CCTV wall, and then good, confident control of cash, of construction, and a real presence, maybe one in logistics as well from SSG to start putting pressure onto site. That's what they need.
It's almost like the third map in the series is the reverse of what we saw back in the first, when it was Ashen, for example, being really aggressive at every window and doorway you could find to catch players outside the building. Well, now it's more that we're seeing Secret do the back onto them. It was Noah on Garage in the last round. You've just seen Mowgli try it at the start of this round on towards Ashen. They've almost caught him as well, got enough of a nick onto him, just didn't quite find the head that would have seen that line offline very early on.
Loving this from Newers straight away. I said coming in, there's 3 walls I want opened up quickly. Cash, construction, and jacuzzi. He's done them in exactly that order, one after the other. With 50 seconds in, all 3 walls are going to be open. Really, really good stuff from SSG. Next move is get some presence inside of the map. Nobody yet, despite that cash wall being opened, has moved in. Sorry, the construction wall. Nobody's moved in to start challenging on towards cash, top red, construction. Everything from SSG is stacking up on the jacuzzi side. They've got a clash over there, and it might just be a little bit one-sided.
The clash is going to be a real nuisance to contend with, but however, they're looking to try and go aggressive quite early on. Juma's backed himself right into a corner here as well, picked up that shield, realised it was a little bit too hot to sit where he did, so he's going to have to rotate away and rejoin his team, does just that, and has got himself out to safety. So SSG started quickly with getting walls opened up, but now, Tim, it's that thing that you said earlier on. They're not really inside the map is the main concern. You've got Benja underneath, which is a start, but now you've got to break the extended hold on towards Noah and Mowgli, who are in the area, and then also think about how the hell do we hit site later?
Fultz and J9O are now moving in to try and increase the pressure on this side. The Nomad is going to make it difficult. Doom taken down. Beautiful teamwork. J9O the one to pick up that kill. Benja is going to try and aggress. He's going to take a lot of damage. Mowgli manages to pick up J9O as well. Secret holding on again, just standing firm. This is looking great from the EU side. Nitro deployed, but it's going to be short of the mark. It's not going to find its way over onto the stairs. Benja still needs to be careful. Got to clear out this barbed wire. It will do him damage. Just sends up the flashbang in case they're still playing in that position, but they have dropped away and more time is being wasted. There's only 40 seconds. I really don't think that anything is going to happen for SSG here other than what did. Mowgli, Noah, a kill apiece, and another round for Secret, 3-0, and a complete rotation of those defensive sites.
Look extremely comfortable, don't they?
They really
won
do.
the battle on 2 fronts there. At the same time that Jacuzzi was going off, there was also this scrapping towards Cash and CC where SSG were trying to push on forward. They got the clash. That will embolden you. But everything else from there just fell completely flat on its face, unfortunately. Really lacking a bit of wind in their sails, SSG, and they've got to find it here because across these next 3 rounds, it's going to only get even more bruising. We've had the Thermite taken away and the Mirror banned out by SSG.
Yeah, really good stuff. Really good stuff from Secret. We heard that from Call Out that those were the bans that were likely going to be coming in. They already have a plan for the Thermite being taken away. You know, we heard him say, we'll look at the hard breach charges to get the breaches that we need. They can also bring along the Ace as well, so this should still be fine. Interestingly, we're going to see a possible pick onto Iana, somebody that we really don't see too much of anymore. If you remember back in the days of cooked nades, we used to see an awful lot of Iana, but certainly a little bit rarer these days. But J9 looking to bring a lot of value, from Iana, just on the basis that Siege is a intel-based game. The more you know, the better you're going to do, and so we're going to trade it away. There we go.
Of course we are.
Excellent.
5 seconds remaining.
She was the go-to for a longest time for Shaiko as well, if you remember. Back in the days
of drones and everything.
In the days of BDS, it used to be like he would play off by himself on the Iana, the other 4 would all work together across the map, and obviously then execute as a group. Whereas the reason I think you see it less these days is Mute's efficacy has dropped off quite a lot since the changes have come on through. Now, you do still see the Mute, as you're seeing here on this exact round. Just not quite as effective as he once was, and so it's a little bit like, does it really matter that much? Are drones being blocked away as often as they used to be? The answer is no. We're not really in the Mute Mozzie meta anymore. You see one or the other, but very rarely do you get both together.
Very quick work. We're going to have Cash Wall opened up inside of 30 seconds. The Mirror being taken away means that the catwalk setup is a little bit different this time. We're going to have pressure over on that Master side. And again, it does look largely like it is going to be focused on that Master-sided push. It didn't really work out last time for SSG. They are going to keep J9 over on the cash breach for the time being, but the focus is going to have to be on this side as they try to make a little bit of progress inside the map. Again, I'm going to say the same as I said last time around. We need to see them taking some control. Mowgli, he just keeps getting away with it.
It was in this spot, well, slightly across from it. It was actually in Jim where he managed to get away with the play in the previous round, burning through drones, and just anything they're throwing at him, he's handling. He is dangerously low, though. Benja has got the cut inside of construction, so he can't easily fall back in that spot. He'll need assist from a teammate to make that retreat work, but to beat him, it looks like he doesn't want to leave.
No,
I'm not leaving.
He's not going anywhere, is he? He wants to keep taking those fights, those scraps. He might just get one onto Fultz in a minute. The Glaz manages to take down Doom and actually then dips out, doesn't want to continue that fight. And it looks like it could be a bit of a rotation coming in here from SSG. 1 minute 20 left on the clock. We've got Benja playing on that construction window, but otherwise it's a bit of a switch over to the construction wall logistics hatch. I'm not really sure what the play is going to be here from SSG, but it looks like it's going to be maybe try and get onto Cash Breach and try and get into Catwalk. It's very late to start doing this.
I'm not sure about this one, Chief. Like construction, they can't even get control of because now Mowgli's still got hold of that ground. They're trying in towards Logi by the looks of it to push in through there as Mowgli rejoins his team, but now they're even looking in towards Garage where Noah's dug in and hasn't got to worry about anything because they're so short on utility now. This has been bizarre. Like, it's a bit of a late rotate away.
Academos scan's not really going to help you here too much because you know where Noah is. He's on Catwalk behind the keepers. He still manages to survive. 30 seconds left to go, and again, it's back to the drawing board for SSG. Nothing is working for them right now. Secret are in the ascendancy.
They're trying to do too much. They've got Ashton in construction, J9 on the platform, Repel. You've had, of course, Benja trying to work through Garage. They really need to solidify down to 2 things at once here. They'll pay the price because it's too many 1v1s or trades coming out for Secret. They take another round. SSG, I think, just getting a bit lost in themselves in that round, I'm afraid.
SSG, I think, tried every attacking strat that round. Within one round, they tried the Jacuzzi, get into Master, work your way over. It didn't work. So they went on the rotate, tried to clear out Garage Catwalk. It didn't work. So then Benja hopped in through CCTV window in the end in a little bit of desperation, and it didn't work. So SSG back to the drawing board, but 4-0 down. Secret starting to really run away with this, and they are looking extremely good right now.
All right. Well, I'm struggling to see how SSG fight their way back in, especially now we're going down to the basement. Again, one of our hallmark defender-sided sites in the game. And Shock Horror Secret are going back for the same as last time around. Back up to that top floor. We've got the Mute Jammers going upstairs. You've got Noah, of course, on the Skopos. It's going to be more of the same again. SSG have got to figure this one out themselves. No tack timeout available. Could be a real bruising couple of rounds if they don't get this right now.
Okay then, Basement last time around saw us with a number of Secret players up on the top floor, 3 at a point with only 2 left inside a site. SSG spent a lot of time kind of lost in the source, going for the clearance, chasing them around, losing bodies along the way, never really able to pin them down. We saw I think it was Savage on the Skopos last time. He was inside of Logistics, just able to shoot off the X-Kairos pellets from the hatching kitchen. There was just nothing really that SSG could get going. They have their opportunity. Unable to take it though. Mowgli escaping damage again. Nothing sticks to him in this game, does it?
It's ridiculous how he's dodged every single one of those bullets and they've managed to get nothing down onto him. It's unlike Benja as well to miss a couple of shots that really could have landed and got them moving in the round. But maybe it speaks again to the confidence deficit that SSG are now having to endure given how this map started.
SSG are a team that are certainly capable of coming back from a deficit. They've certainly got that resilience factor, but they need to get started soon. If you get 5-0, 6-0 down, you start looking at it thinking that there's very little chance that happens. Savage is still in position. It's too easy. He gets himself a double. Beautiful stuff from Savage. Mowgli onto J90. Secret just starting to style on them at this point, Des.
It's looking a bit pedestrian, isn't it, Tim? Savage not flashed out at top red there was the big curse for them that really punished them. They needed to make sure that he could not step across and get the couple of kills that he did. Unfortunately, utility not placed, and again, it's just a little bit pedestrian, a little bit lackluster from SSG. I don't know what's happened, but they really have lost their bite.
They just don't look organised. They don't look organised for me. It seems to be a little bit indecisive. You know, it's kind of go for this plan. Oh, not working. Go over here. I mean, they've got a blitz just running through the middle of Cash, putting themselves into the situation of having a player on either side of them. Which, look, you get it. It's exactly where you don't want to be as a blitz. You don't want people on both sides of you because there's no way that you can use your shield to cover both flanks. It's a big, big problem. And SSG just seem to be kind of just grasping at this game, and the harder the grasp, the quicker it slips away from them. Secret, by contrast, looks super organised. They're playing as a team. They're playing off each other, as we saw there. Dealing with the blitz, getting the kill onto Newers, just cutting the numbers down of SSG over and over again. No matter what SSG do, they just meet this brick wall from Secret, and it's brilliant stuff so far. They're going to go to gym and bedroom, 5-0 up, and honestly, it looks like it's going to be 6-0. Who knows? Maybe SSG grab one, but not if it's gone like the other 5 have.
Well, to win the round, they're going to have to near enough double their kill count so far. They've got 6 kills across 5 rounds.
That's not good.
You ain't got to be a genius to see that averages out about 1.2 kills a round. It is looking ugly.
6 out of a possible 30, Des.
Yes.
No, 25.
Close. Yeah, I was going to say. If you include this round, then
quick maths,
yes,
quick maths, bad maths.
Quick maths is bad maths, apparently, Tim. Absolutely. Same as Aldis has proven to be a pretty bad half overall for SSG. Let's see if they can do it. Almost in March, then. It's gym and bedroom already. Shot onto Ashen. This is so early on in the aggression, but Mowgli is feeling it.
But again, the fact that he's landed the shots, that was just a bit of a spray through the window. Yeah, they know roughly where the roof is, but he's managed to land the shots, and that's the point. The more that you play with confidence, the more those bullets tend to find their targets. And right now, that is definitely the case for Secret. So, like you said, a little bit of damage done to Ashen. Is it the end of the world? Absolutely not, but it's that chip damage each time. Now, when he goes into a fight, it's going to be 1, maybe 2 bullets that's going to do the job for him. So, he has to back off a little bit. You've mentioned confidence. That is not going to help it. 5 versus 5 still, a minute into the round. Breach is getting opened into Cash. This time, unlike last time, we need to see SSG getting in and getting some map control.
Well, they've got the focus already on towards the Cash CC wall, as you probably expect. They want to push through this extended hold that currently only consists of Noah. Dancing around top red, around the shield, in and out of Cash. It is something they've still got to respect. They've got a lot of utility around him here, as you can see on the wall too. The Mine Magnets just making sure that flashes or frags can't come straight in towards him. And Mute Jammer at his feet. but he is quite alone here. Admittedly, June can come across and join him at any time, but Ashen is making sure that it's hard for June to move, given he's sat on that construction window.
Yeah, this is great from Noah. A minute 40 wasted, and he still hasn't been shifted out. They do manage to take his shield away. This utility absolutely raining in around him, but kills come in from elsewhere. 3 kills, and the round again is pretty much over. SSG are now left with the players on the window. Ashen absolutely right that he has to try and move into CCTV, because otherwise they're just going to get shot from there, but he gets killed as he goes in to do it. It leaves Newers all alone. He's got a problem in garage, he's got a problem in construction, and it is the problem in construction that's going to get the kill. Doom swings around, gets the last man, and that is Secret 6-0. This is not how we thought this one was going to go, Des.
I think because they took so long breaking open this extension, Savage had time to move into lounge underneath and get himself a kill from below. That's what really upset the apple cart as they were trying to make this push come on through. Absolutely slaughtered as they stepped into the breach, and that is a ridiculously dominant half of Siege. Probably the most dominant that I've seen, I'd say, Tim, so far here at SI. Only 8 kills to SSG across the entirety of it. What more can you say? Just bad half, I'm afraid.
5 entries out of 6, of course, as well, going the way of Secret. They are just dominating from beginning to end of these rounds. Simple as that. The question being asked of why
I think it's a very reasonable question.
Why SSG are a little bit quiet.
Ashen more specifically. I think he knows this clearly ain't going the way that they would have liked, and there is work to do. Imagine if they can get 6 defenses in a row and take us to OT.
Against the best attacking team in the world.
Oh, pull the other one, Tim.
Exactly.
It's probably not going to happen, but don't write them off. It can happen.
It just certainly can.
Likely.
At the minute, you've got to look at this one round at a time. That is what SSG are going to be doing. The next target is 6-1. And then after that, you think about, round 8. That's all you can do. It's all you can do, Des. If they get up to 6-4, that's always the threshold for me, where you start looking at it thinking, all right, okay, maybe we've got something going here. But honestly, I think this is going to be very, very difficult for them. They're starting out in Church and Arsenal. Secret on the attack. Just looking at their lineup as it stands at the minute, it's not going to be pretty to play against. It might be altered, but they've got the Grim, the Blackbeard, and the Ying. It's going to make it very, very difficult. The Blackbeard of Savage, particularly, is going to be useful for chasing down any of these top 4 players. Get in there, use it as a little bit of roam clearance, force them back to site, and I think Secret basically need to do what SSG couldn't, and that is go in there and get that map control, and take the lead in these rounds. Make sure that they're playing it on their terms.
Definitely going to be a similar sort of setup. Speaking about the attacking line, look at the defensive one as well. It's not miles off what we saw coming out from Secret in the first half. Skopos up there, supported by the Mute Jammers. Also got the Izami we've seen a lot of. Anything to waste time on the top floor is what SSG are looking for here. Now, infamously, this was the roster, not the roster. This was the organization that came up with the famous SSG roam, where it plays all 3 floors of this map, using a mix of Mute, Mozzie, Vigil, Castle, then normally a player downstairs in case there is a rush to come through. It did get figured out in the end, and he's managed to adapt, but can they also show us that this organization can still put on a pretty good 3-floor hold, or will Secret just tear them apart at first time of asking?
Doom just taking a little bit of damage from the barbed wire there. Geniano picks up the entry and Fultz doubles down. Okay, SSG get themselves into the round in a big way. Newers as well. That's going to help them because it's a kill to 3 different people. Start building that confidence. Start feeling like you're getting rolling. Newers picks up Mowgli, and in 5-6 seconds, Secret find themselves from a 5v5 to a 1v5. A minute 45 left on the clock. Nothing that Adrian can do other than just see if any opportunities present themselves to get a kill, which it does. 1v5 becomes a 1v4. He knows that there's one around this corner, but the problem is he's going to be swung from the other side, and that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, both swung on the 3-2-1 count there as well. Good stuff from SSG to close it out. And around where we saw, I won't want to call it a rush, but it was a direct-to-site play coming out of Secret. You had Savage dropping in through that blue hatch, looking to immediately get control of site itself, but there was just a player in blue, clearly they weren't aware of, and they paid the price for it. It took all the wind out their sails. They lose the round. The crucial thing is, Secret have only got to be right once, whereas SSG have to be right every single time. Every gunfight, they've got to come out on top or at least have a trade going into it. The Secret find a gap in the armor even once, game's over.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to head up to the top floor, of course, given that we've just seen Church and Arsenal. So next one will be CCTV and Cash. Just looking at the defensive lineup there. Definitely going to be a catwalk hold. We've got J9 on the Azami. We've got Benja on the Jaeger. Capitao has been banned away, so big question as to how that is dealt with. I'd like to see maybe the Monty brought along. It is an option to try and deal with that catwalk. There's no Legion on side. There is the Denari, but I don't think they'll be played in that position, so it would be an option to try and bully that player up on the catwalk. We don't always see it, but it can definitely have some success. Savage is there. We saw a nice play from Doki the other day where, with the Blackbeard, he just sort of challenged from the door, but because they normally see your toes, if you crouch down with the Blackbeard, obviously it covers your shield and you can still kind of have that fight. So that was nice. You know, maybe that's going to be something that Savage can look at to try and dislodge J9.
See how it goes. Changed away attacking lineup locked in here as well. For a second I thought we might see a Carly Adam Oakley, but very, very rare that we do. Saw a little bit yesterday as a counter to a clash on between one of our games, one of our matches. I remember Maria asking about it on the interview. I don't think you're going to see too much Carly throughout the tournament, admittedly. I think step number one is breaking through the scenario set up inside of Garage, working your way up catwalk and putting pressure onto J9, who sits up at the top. Crucial thing is they've only got the ADSs on side, no magnets, so they can overwhelm this defensive setup with utility to burn him out and hopefully catch him out before he can get back in towards site. But it's so important they do. They haven't got the Capitao, so it is on hard mode.
Yep, really nice play there from the Flores. Doom just sending... Oh no, it's been jammed out. Oh, there we go. I was going to say... Oh, no.
Oh, here we go.
It's going to go eventually. It's going to go eventually. It's nice play from Doom there. He tried to send it in one way, but they were watching for it and managed to take it out. We're going to see it just... Eventually, there will come a point where the bulletproof camera can't catch it, but they are having to sort of sit on that bulletproof cam. There we go. They've at least denied it by about 20 seconds, but it does mean that that protection that J9 had from below has had to dip away a little bit. And he was not being able to play quite as advanced. Although saying that, he's got back up. He's on those stairs again. They are aware. He's exposed himself, and Noah picks up the kill. 5 versus 4.
Yeah, far too easy for them there. You know, Nua's, like you say, was sort of forced to move because the shield was taken away into the waiting arms of Noah on the other side. J9 has now got 3 players all gathering underneath him, but Mowgli's gone down to Benja. Good assist coming in there from up on the window, I want to say that was. Master Window catching him just as he stepped on forward. Savage has gone as well, so now we're down to a 1v1 around Garage. What's going on? Secret collapsing here at the back of SSG, just showing a lick of aggression, and suddenly it's a 2 versus 4.
Well, it turns out nobody can attack on Clubhouse today, does it? Looks like SSG have come, you know, out of nowhere, really. They've, like I said, they've looked sort of disorganised and a little bit off the pace on the attack. They move on to the defence and all of a sudden they look solid. They're picking up kills from everywhere. The utility's being taken away, but they're thinking around the problem and creating new opportunities, new possibilities for themselves. Adrian goes in and gets one onto Fultz, takes damage as he does. Benja closes him out, and that's going to be a second round. Like I said, for the next couple, SSG can only think of this in terms of 6-1, get to 6-2, get to 6-3, but they are starting to do it a step at a time here, Des. This could be an all-time comeback if they're able to get to overtime.
At what point does Ashen start screaming? We'll find out after the secret timeout, I imagine.
They are against the wall. They won't be letting this go through without a fight. For me, if we go to gym right now, we can even try to bait that we're going to the other side and do the armor play. Remember, Savage? Maybe because if they are contesting too much and being too aggressive, it's better if we 3-2-1 and go for one side and execute. Because in this mid-time of the round, they are just playing aggro and trying to punish us. If we are being able to play all at the same time and punish them back, it's great. If not, we just go. We just commit on the step by step. Same thing if it's needed for basement. If you guys want to do the take, the round will be over there. You know, you guys bait it to be something on site, and you guys take the map a little bit easier, even fighting if it's needed. You guys got this, guys. Remember, marathon, okay? Don't try to rush stuff. Enjoy the round.
If they contest, we could do it.
Alright, let's fucking go, guys. If we do that shit, can I go no man on Garage?
Pretty fair to say he's spot on there, Tim. You know, they're 3 players gathered on Garage, ready to pressure on towards J9 who's upstairs. And then within 5 seconds, they'd lost all 3 of those players. It was an absolute meltdown in the mid-round, so Twister's cool. There's a bit more composure, a bit more team play, be a bit more committed as a unit towards that next stage of play.
I like what he said at the end there. You know, remember, this is a marathon. There's no need to rush to get this over the line. You know, we're the ones with the rounds in the bank. we can take our time to do this. You know, we don't have to snatch at it. So there was talk of an Amaru play. We're going to have Savage on the Amaru, Noah going on to the Sense. Given that it's gym and bedroom, I would imagine that would be one of two. I think it'll be get into pool table and get up the hatch, but we will see just how that one plays out. So get the Sense gadgets in, just create a lot of confusion, get the Lion scan going, get the Grim Bees in, prevent any movement. Ashen is underneath on the Vigil though. He could play spoiler to this kind of attempt.
Very possibly. It's more about the pace though, Secret. Like, even if he wants to try and play spoiler underneath, it's the fact that he's just that. It's, ooh. Oh,
exactly.
Does he get away with it? I think it's Adrian that he's got running past him at this point, but I think he's just about missed his chance. They'll certainly try again. Here's Adrian, got up and over. Yes, he has, and turns around and catches him. That was Ashen's moment. He did it a lot back on Fortress. Won't quite have the same joy here on Clubhouse.
Yeah, he's been unfortunate there. It was a great effort for him, a real opportunity, but that allows Savage now to work in underneath. He is below the hatch, and he's ready to go. He just needs that utility to start coming in and the confusion to be created. Newers is the problem. At the minute, is he aware? No, he's not. Newers, he stands tall, gets a big double. What a defense from SSG coming out here.
And there's still a player from Garage shooting back up anyway. We've seen that so many times this game. Can only imagine Savage probably a bit frustrated there, screaming, how the hell did we not know about Newers? He was sat right next to the window. We should have seen him on a drone ages ago. And like that, the whole round crumbles off his back. J90 with the closing kill. That's 3 on a bounce, Tim. Now we start to get nervous because we've seen one of each of those 3 sites.
I feel like it's kind of... The message from the timeout's a little bit conflicting, isn't it? This is a marathon. You don't need to rush it. Maybe go for the Amaru play up the hatch where we just surprise. It's kind of like one doesn't match with the other because it was because of that speed that they've missed Newers. They've been unaware of him because you can see they're unaware because as Savage goes up the hatch as the Amaru, he doesn't turn around to try and challenge. If he knows Newers is there, he might even get the kill himself with the shotgun going up there as the Amaru. But he doesn't even challenge. Newers just says, yep, thank you very much. Shoots him, takes him down, gets a second as they try to go in through the window. It was just all, it was either disjointed and mistimed or they were unaware of Newers' position at that time. We can see now as he goes up, he sort of tries to spin, but there's nothing that he can do. It's just too little too late. And big mistake from Secret again.
Got to pick themselves back up and go again, whereas SSG can start building in a bit of confidence here. Yes, we need 3 more rounds from them. But certainly not complaining about how those 3 have gone, even if across 2 of those 3 rounds, they lost the entry engagement. In that round, it was Ashen being gunned down, as we saw the prior one. Noah managed to catch out Newers at about the halfway mark. It started out good for Secret, but it's always in this mid-round where they're falling apart and crumbling. And that's where the difference needs to be made. Can they do it in time before OT hits? We're going to find out. Hell of a 3 rounds on the way.
Yeah, we are indeed. And I think what we're going to see from Secret now, following Twister's message in the tactical timeout, it was kind of like, look, try that Amaru play. If that doesn't work, when we go back down to Church and Arsenal, he said, we do it more step by step. We make sure that we're going in and they're ticking boxes. So this is now where I would expect to see Secret slow down a little bit. I'd expect to see good intel. They can't allow themselves to get caught out. They need to be aware of where these top 4 Laromas are and try and put them into difficult lose-lose positions. I like this pressure immediately from Savage down Dirt as well. Give them something to think about because what this is going to do is it's going to force SSG to bring people back to start. No, it's not, because J90 is just going to shoot Savage in the head. Job done. Blackbeard gone.
I've seen so many Blackbeards losing 1v1s the last couple of days. It's absolutely crazy. Like, teams just know once that shield starts going down, it's all too easy. You've got a brief moment where you have the advantage. They always seem to win out. It's why with the Blackbeard, typically you need extra pressure alongside the shield. It struggles to win the 1 versus 1 unless the distraction is being created elsewhere. That's what we've seen once again. Good entry for SSG, and they can just be chilling now. Probably challenge really to this as well, Tim, is that was Savage alone trying to move on 4s. The rest of the team are nowhere to be seen. They're still getting themselves set up.
I like this from Ashen as well. He's playing up above there and we can see him kind of moving around. But he's not really giving himself away too much yet either. He's the only one that has now remained up there on the top floor. He's got the weaponry to do it, really. With the shotgun in hand, he's going to be very difficult to challenge up here unless they come through Garage. They're not really going to get a long angle onto him anymore. And so definitely something that needed to be aware of. Candela goes out, not really going to gain them too much because they're not able to use that Secret to grab any ground. Still 5 versus 4. Do now have control of Bar at least. That's something, but haven't dealt with Ashen, and he's going to be a problem.
They have seen him on the drone. They know that he's up here at the very least, but that's not really the issue. They can spend all day chasing him down. They've got to look at the site at some point. That's what Noah's starting to do as we push on down main stairs. They've also got a bit of moto control from Mowgli. So in the right kind of positions, but I tell you what, he has no idea how close he was there to getting a free kill. Doesn't get away with it in the end on towards J9O, who still stays standing and can now carry on with the gun. Focus onto the church wall coming on through. A moto is an option once the fire has been burnt out.
I love getting this long angle open. It's an angle I always associate with Parley. We used to do it on Liquid a lot with the Hibana and just hold that line all the way through sight. This is actually good from Secret. There's an opportunity to get in here and put the diffuser down. They're going to try to rush through, but no, Benja, he's played that smart. He's kept himself out of the line of sight from main stairs, but still been in position to be able to prevent that rush behind the bar to get the diffuser down. Leaves us now heading for 6-4 at this rate, unless Doom can hit a 1v4.
Absolutely not, I'm afraid. It's all but a flawless round, if not for that kill onto Ashen. SSG looking pretty dominant. That's the first time I think I've heard a little shout out of Ashen as well, because they are looking ridiculously on top of this half. Goes to show, Tim, 2 halves to a game of siege.
Yeah, this certainly is fighting back now. And the thing is, this starts creeping into the mind of Secret, doesn't it? You start wondering, thinking, is it going that way? Are we going to overtime? I mean, at least in the back of the mind, they've kind of got that guarantee that, you know, there is overtime waiting, if nothing else. They've done enough to get there. It's not like they were 5-1. But you certainly don't want to go from 6-0 to 6-6 to then have to play those overtime rounds. Don't know who will be on which side. That will be an interesting question as well, because right now nobody can win an attack. So you certainly wouldn't want to start overtime on attack.
It's not a full-on scream at Savage, but it's more noise. It's building round by round.
If you remember, I said 6-4 is the point where you start looking at that threshold, thinking that's the threshold for me to start saying, this is doable. And I think if you're Secret, this is the threshold where you start thinking, this might happen. And, you know, it becomes 2 problems. You've got the physical problem in-game of attacking, but you've also got that mental resilience issue.
All right, well, Gladstrat is the call for the round. Savage taking up that mantle.
Ready to activate.
Only have the 2 smokes in back pocket, admittedly, so not tons to work with. It really comes down to the rest of the team and what they can do to overwhelm the site, I'd expect, with things like those Grim Bees coming on through and all the utility that sits in the back pocket of Noah, of course, on that Striker. One operator that's grown quite a lot in popularity, actually, over, I'd say, the last year is Striker, now I think about it. You know, Furia had it as one of their top 3 most played operators. I remember asking Igor about, you know, why you of all teams, why do you think this is up there for you? It's a case of like, well, it's just so flexible. The amount of utility you can use often is more valuable than what a primary gadget might be in some cases. And more teams have started to see Sentry and even Striker creeping into their lineups.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, if you're in a position where you think, you know what, we don't need an additional hard breach, we don't need an IQ, they're not playing the Valk, they're not playing anything, you know, those sorts of operators. If there's nothing specifically that you need, yep, bring along the in this case, 4 throwables, 2 nades, 2 flashes, and give yourself those options to clear out those difficult positions. But for the time being, we've got Secret mounting an attack directly towards the cache and garage side. They've got the main breach open, so that's a good start for them. The next question is, can they deal with Catwalk? The answer last time was no. This time they've taken the Azami away. J9O is in position with the Wamai this time, but will not have the keeper barricades to play behind.
Of course, you're grabbing up that Grimby there. He's tracked out by this. They know exactly where he is. If they've got any of the nades they can throw up, I don't think they do, Tim. They're out of utility. They've got to push onto him. Savage getting rid of J9O eventually. He was laid down in that back corner. They've cracked it, but they have lost a player in the process.
Yeah. Not the end of the world. It's the Striker with the utility. Newer's managing to do a job from down in Oil Pit. It's the oldest trick in the book on Clubhouse. You've got to be aware of it. He switched to the pistol. He continues fighting. Surely his days are numbered. Fultz manages to take down Adrian elsewhere. They still don't have Newer's done. Eventually, Doom manages to get the job done. Newer's straight in the chat. SSG starting to play that mental game. 2 versus 3. Savage and Doom with work to do and only 58 seconds to do it.
And they'll come out worse for wear again here, Tim. They're in a 2v3 now, Secret. It started pretty well, I thought, clearing it out, but all this focus and flurry onto Newers just let the rest of his team get a little bit extra and force Savage and Doom into what's looking like a very unlikely scenario. Yeah, you got a couple of these Terros to play with, you got a smoke you can use for the glass, but that really is about it.
Bench is in a great position here. He's got that nitro pre-pulled. As it is, Doom's going to jump over and look to go for an alternate route. Ashen's just backed him up there. 25 seconds left to go. It's not the ideal time for a rotation. But Benja being able to play inside of CCTV behind there is great. Ashen manages to get the kill onto Savage as he comes in through the window. It's now all up to Doom from the breach. 10 seconds left to go. SSG are going to give him nothing. This is going to 12. Who would have thought it?
Absolute target blindness from Savage as well, expecting. He knew Ashen was to his left, but didn't realize a player was in front of his face, blending in with the environment. It is going all the way to 12, Tim. Start to feel very nervous for Secret now, but what a pullback this has been by SSG. We were speaking about resilience earlier. Ashen might not be screaming, but he is in the all chat. Uh-oh! You can see Secret crumbling before his very eyes.
I don't know whether to talk about the great defenses that we've seen or the wobbly attacks that we've, the fact that we've had now 11 rounds without a single successful attack when we have the best attacking team statistically in the world in the server is just wild, to be honest. But we are where we are, and we could be in for a real treat in overtime because both of these are going to want to take as many points out of this as they can. As you said, the big threat in this group, apart from each other, is Fluxo W7M. They're going to want to make sure that they take in the max so they don't necessarily, or as much as they can, so that they need that little bit less from the Brazilian side.
Okie dokie. Oh, Gym Bedroom to close it out as well. It has been the sort of the site that both teams have had as their third preference throughout the game, which is quite surprising. Normally, it's Gym and Bedroom or Cash EC is always the tertiary. Church Arsenal is always one of the primaries, kind of sharing it, I'd say, with Gym and Bedroom. But both teams have sort of changed that order up a little bit. One starting out with CCTV and Cash, one starting out with Church and Arsenal. So good to see a little bit of change fortunes here for both. For the sides themselves. It's more the same in terms of the aggression around the map. Looking at it, Ashen on the Scott boss, no doubt going to be busy. Umai also making a return once again in the hands of J90. I'd expect to try and give cover to his teammates around the map, especially out towards Catwalk, where I imagine a good few of those magnets have already been set up. Any? No.
No.
He's just here to get out. He's here to get out as soon as any kind of pressure.
Exactly that. He's just here to waste time, to give them something else to look at. Noah gets what could be a critical opener. Newers has had a good game in parts. Only 6 and 9 on the board, but some of those kills have been real key moments, real critical kills that have done a job for his team. So taking him out is going to be a real big thing. 5 versus 4. Team Secret need to continue with this top floor clearance on this side. It's Ashen inside of Cash now. He has been pushed that back that far at least. Need to now move in and get that kill. He's going to be playing top red.
Yeah, in a spot where he can cause a bit of trouble, but has got to be careful. He's seen drones coming up through catwalks. We know 100% the plan for Secret is to take control of that and move forward. And with at least the breach being slightly opened up, you know there'll be some pushing from there as well. The best he can do here is waste a bit of time and then probably get back on towards site. If he gets a kill and gets out, that's even better, but you're asking a lot at that point.
Noah has made his way up onto the catwalk, needs to try and push across into CCTV. Meanwhile, Ashen has now escaped. He's got himself back into sight, so that does leave CCTV and Cash clear. Secret need to recognize that and they need to get moving. 1:20 left on the clock. They can take that ground and they can start to push forward. Ashen has actually moved back into construction. Doom is playing around those windows, so they need to make that a little bit more difficult for him.
Well, they're trying to drone Noah in here so he can rejoin the rest of his team. He's not 100% clear on what's clear inside of construction, and the answer would have been not a lot because Ashen was sat behind planks there, very close to the window. Nade comes on through, I believe, and just starts setting the fire off from that environmental, pushes Ashen back in towards site. So now we've got Secret all surrounding the site. This is what it comes down to. They've got a 5v4 execute. This is the best chance they have got, Tim, to get this done here and now. Otherwise, we're overtime abound.
Yep, Savage is going to move in. He's looking to go for the plant. He's trying to push through. He actually goes into bathroom looking for kills. Noah picks up Ashen. Savage is stood in the middle of site. It's a triple from Noah at the end, though, to close it out. Secret get it done in the last gasp round. Managed to get the one successful attack on Clubhouse to take the lion's share of the points. EU beat NA as Secret take down SSG.
So close to going to OT, and I almost feel like the story of the game deserved it. But once they got rid of Ashen on that construction door, Noah steps in, a line of fire onto 2 of the players, and that is good night. A great execute from Secret. It may have taken 6 rounds, Tim, but they got the job done.
Yeah, they did, and look, at times they look good for it. On the attack of Clubhouse, a little bit of a struggle. There's improvements to be made, but what I take away from that is both of these teams are looking like there is more wins for them ahead, and I'm sure that's what they'll be focusing on as well.
It's been a really good series. A dominant map, I'd say, by either side. You know, we have the 7-4, the 7-3 across Fortress and Lair. Of course, got to see Fortress for the first time. Club has been a defensive, don't say a defensive masterclass or an attacking underclass by both, I don't know. But both have defended well. Both have got to improve on their attacks on this map, I think, overall. But it's been very, very close from start through to finish. And at least both teams get to walk away with something in the piggy bank afterwards.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. You know, this is league play. It's group play. It's not knockout play at this stage. So you've got to look at the bigger picture. You know, and the fact that they've got something out of it means it's back to the drawing board, but it's not the end of the world either.